Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. As always, it is your hosts, Andrew Ludy.
And it's your boy, Paul Canner.
And guys, we have something special today. We have back-to-back weeks with guests. And today...
Dude, I'm so excited for our guest today.
I know. We have our lead graphic designer on today. She is amazing. She is awesome. She's brilliant.
One of our good friends.
Yeah, I know. Her name is, I guess we should say Mandy, even though it's Amanda Adams, but she goes by Mandy. That's the brand, who she is.
The rebrand.
Who she is.
Yeah, but we're glad you're glad.
Welcome.
We're glad you're on today.
Yes,
Welcome to the
I'm
show.
so excited. Thanks for having me. I'm super honored, and you guys are the best, so I'm just excited to hang out.
She's only saying that because we're paying her.
No, that's not true. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous.
It's
I
okay.
feel like
It's okay.
I'm just like a naturally nervous person. Not all the time, but I'm excited.
Just take a deep breath.
Never have done a podcast before. So.
Look at
Just
this.
having a
Ooh, what's this
conversation
thing?
with
It's kind of the
your
brand.
friends.
Yes.
Doing things for the first time, going for
No,
it.
I love it. It's so fun. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. So excited.
Amazing. Well, why don't we just start off with a little warm-up question to highlight the person of the
A
week.
little softball.
Oh gosh.
Who is Mandy Adams?
Wow. Who is Mandy?
You can answer that however broad or deep you
However
want.
you want to answer
Should we go
that.
into the name?
Sure. Yeah, why not? Why? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good
what's
question.
with the...
Why Mandy?
The rebrand.
Okay, so this is a really fun story, and it's so interesting to me because I joke that it's a rebrand because half of my life, most people called me Amanda, and then in the most recent half of my life, it's been Mandy. How did we get here?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Did you
So-
choose? Did someone else choose?
No, so it's actually so interesting because when I first got Instagram, I was in high school, It
Yeah.
was like 2012, the height of Instagram. And I was like, what's this weird thing? Nobody
Instagram has gone downhill since
It
2012.
really
guys.
is. But I just had the self-generated name, and so I just put a random number, and so it was Amanda Adams 7 forever, all the way through high school, and then a little bit of college. And then when I started doing art and taking that more seriously in college, I was like, oh, I should probably have a more professional looking handle, because as a creative, it's your Instagram is kind of a portfolio in a way, and people are always looking at it, or at least you feel like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But and so I was like, I should have something more something just to get the number out, basically. I was like, I don't want the number because it had no relevance. It wasn't
7.
my soccer number was 7. It's I had
My football number was 7.
oh
so
shoot,
just saying.
well maybe I should have kept
Lucky
it. I don't
number
know.
7.
It's
I
the
know.
best number.
It
Yeah.
is a good number. I'm glad it was 7.
Yeah, but 21 is 3 times greater than 7.
Oh shoot.
That's my number.
7 is still better.
Anyways.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a simple story, but I changed my Instagram handle to Mandy A. Adams just to get rid of the 7, kind of clean up the Insta
Yeah.
profile,
Of course,
if you will.
We've
'cause
all been there.
We've all been through it. And for some reason, I don't know why, because even in my details where you put in your name, it still is Amanda Adams. If you go and look to
Yeah.
this day, I think it still says Amanda Adams. I didn't change that. I just changed the handle.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it was overnight. People that used to call me Amanda were calling me Mandy. It was so bizarre. Once they were seeing the handle.
You didn't tell people?
No, I never explicitly said, hey, I don't want to go by Amanda anymore. I want to be Mandy. Isn't that crazy? And it just
Wow.
happened. I think another thing that contributed, though, was Young Life kids would call me Mandy all the time. There were a handful of people that would call me Mandy. And so that's why it wasn't weird for my handle to be Mandy. But it just escalated.
Sounds like people were just going off your handle.
I know. It's just so weird.
But it's
When
so
did you
subtle.
start introducing yourself as Mandy?
I think when it was I don't know. I don't really remember a specific
Was there
day.
I'm Mandy now?
No, and that's the weirdest part. And that's the hardest part too, is because I kind of have segmented the people in my mind now, because everyone from church and high school, people that have known me since high school basically all still call me Amanda. And I was
Right.
even telling people at on church band the other week, like, I was like, like most people call me Mandy, and they were all like floored. They were like, what do you mean? They like had no idea that
So
there's
they
like
were
this other
calling you
world.
Amanda?
Yeah. So they like that
And
group
you just
of
let
people.
them? You're just like, actually.
I mean, that is your name.
It is. So it's like, I'm not going to like stop them, but
Once you
Um,
rebrand though, like,
you
Yeah,
gotta
yeah, stick to the
commit.
guns.
commit. I
And that's-
committed.
You committed, and you're such a good example of that. Whereas I am not, because I was just like, I don't know. Like,
It was
just
also
call
like,
me whatever.
it just wasn't, it didn't seem like it was your intention to actually like.
Yeah, I
It
don't-
wasn't.
You like
Just kinda
unintentionally
Yeah.
rebranded.
Yeah, and then I think a lot of people
The
just
people
like.
rebranded you.
True, I am rebranded by the people. That's what happened.
Well, she changed it to Instagram, so I mean, she started
she
it.
did.
I
She
did
did
start
start.
it,
She
technically.
started it.
But subtly, and I just thought that was so fascinating.
It's
that I
like
was
over time, the
Yeah.
exponential growth
Yes.
of the people that called you Mandy.
Yeah, and then eventually, once I graduated college, and like got a job and stuff, and I mean, all Hosanna people, I think I introduced myself as Mandy. Guys, they
Your
just
work email is Mandy.
I know. I'm like, my work email is Mandy.
not
So
even your
now
real
What
name.
was
I'm
on your
Mandy.
resume?
I think Amanda. I don't think I would have put Mandy at that time.
Yeah.
I think now I would put Mandy because is what most people call me. But
Wow.
then I think it was Amanda. But they just like all knew me as Mandy. Maybe from Instagram, maybe from other people like calling me Mandy. I don't know where they heard it, but
Yeah.
yeah, so they always have called me Mandy too, which is so funny. And I'm
That's
like, there's
weird.
just like this, like people just never know. And there's some people that are caught like dead in the middle, like Brandon Nike is one of them. And the other day he
Did you just
texted-
mix it up, or
well, I feel like he was right on the cusp of like when it happened. And because, half of the MMV is calling me Mandy and the other half is calling me MMV. Sorry to explain what our old Young Life area. I realize I'm on a podcast. So I have to explain like what I'm talking about. Mid Miami Valley. Hello. Shout
an
out to
area.
them. They're
Yeah.
the best. But Brandon Nike, our old area director, had texted me the other day for something. And, he was like, "Hey, Mandy, if that's even your real name." He was
that
like, "I
sounds
feel
like such
so
a
betrayed."
Brandon thing to
He
do.
called
I
me.
know.
He texted me and was like, "Hey TP," and I'm like, "What?"
Who's TP?
Like,
Old tall Paul right
It's
there.
like
old
Tall Paul.
old man, tall Paul.
but it's like shortened to TP, and then
Toilet paper?
toilet paper.
Right.
So I was like,
know.
"That's a no go."
Not a good brand.
But
Not a
I
good
also
brand.
feel for the unfortunate initials because I mean TP is not your given.
Yeah, it's PK.
It's PK, but
Which I really like PK. Like, I like sign my
Yeah.
Instagram post with PK
Nice.
sometimes.
Penalty kick.
No.
That's what I think of when I think of PK.
but my initials are also AAA, which I'm like,
Triple
I
A.
love my parents, but they did ruin monograms for me for the rest of my life. So I'll
Who
never.
uses monogram?
I don't know. I'm over
I don't know.
monograms. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Until you
I'm
get
not
married,
bitter.
though.
I know.
That's true.
So that's the thing is like I'm really looking for someone with a crazy last name
Starts with an A.
that starts with an A.
Like a Z.
A-A-Z.
A to Z, A to Z. Let's go.
Oh, man.
No.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so that's the story.
That's how you got
Way
the
too
name
long of a
Mandy.
story.
That's awesome.
Well, now we know. I never knew
That's
that.
so cool
Yeah.
how it just kind of happened.
I know it was just like a natural phenomenon that I didn't really control
Yeah.
or like contribute to. I mean, I guess I contributed, but
A little bit. I mean, you changed your Instagram handle.
You,
But why is that a big
I don't know.
deal, you know?
If people called me, well, I guess I changed it recently, but it used to be ADJ for my initials, not adjective. So I have two middle names, everyone, and it's ADJ.
Yeah.
And everyone, if people call me that, they could just said adjective. Hey,
I've never noticed. I didn't even think
I
about
also
that.
never thought about that.
people don't know I have
I'm
two
just
middle
like,
names.
that's just, it's ADJ, Ludi.
Yeah, those are my initials.
That's how I
Now
find,
it's just Andrew Ludi.
that's how I find you to like tag you and stuff.
I
Like
changed
I'll,
it though.
I'll do like AD.
Oh, really? Yeah. People are like, why is
Wait,
it adjective?
you
And I'm
changed
like,
it?
"Mhm, it's just
To
Andrew
what?
Ludi now.
Like no space, no
Underscore.
No
I
I was
underscore.
gonna say I'm pretty sure there's an underscore.
I
last
think it
time
looks.
How often do you look at Instagram handles?
I don't know. I guess I mean
What's mine?
I can tell you, no one's
it's
Instagram
just Paul
handle.
Canner,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, because there's already an Andrew
I
Ludi
passed
out
the
there.
test.
What
I
did it
do
used
the
to be?
underscore.
It definitely
Probably like Tall
Paul, but was there an underscore or not? That is the question.
It was an underscore and a
Yes.
number.
I don't
21.
remember the
Yep.
number. Well, I should have known that. We
said
just
it
talked
earlier,
about
yeah.
that. Dang
Oh
it.
man, Instagram handles. Who would have knew?
I know they make such an
That's so
impact.
weird. That's
Be careful.
funny.
Be careful with your Instagram handles, everybody.
Well, I changed it
Yeah,
for
because then
this.
people will
'cause I
call
was
you
like,
that forever.
I know exactly.
People never called me adjective, so just I'll put that out there.
Okay, Andrew.
Okay. Andrew.
There it is again.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah, you keep calling me Andrew. This is weird, Paul.
I told you I call people by their names.
Except me. I don't think you've said
Ludus.
that's
That
that's what
is
he
so
normally
funny.
says.
Yeah, but when you take a dig at me, I'm gonna call you Andrew.
It just sounds weird. You say Andrew.
Also, we're on a podcast.
I say I'm hard Andrew.
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
No. There's
Okay.
there's a lot of people in college that say Andrew. There's a lot of people who say Ludi.
Leah says Andrew. I'm pretty sure.
Leah does say Andrew.
Yeah.
And I can tell, like, if you said Ludi, it'd sound weird. If you say Andrew, which it does, it sounds weird.
And that's, I mean, I feel that segmentation of like, if a work friend calls me Amanda, I'm like, oh, that's weird. But then if like a
Are
high
you mad
school
at me?
friend calls me
Amanda.
Mandy, I'm like, ooh, like
Yeah.
shivers, shiver me timbers. That's weird.
Shiver me timbers.
Oh, man. Well, that's a
feel
good
like I'm just-
segue.
I hope it is.
Work.
Sorry, I just ruined your segue.
No, you didn't ruin my segue. It's called a
sorry.
conversation. Unscripted. This is what
I
happens.
This is
know.
unscripted.
So, what do you do for work, Mandy?
So I am the creative director of Hosanna
Ooh.
Revival. Ooh.
Oh.
It's a fancy title.
It feels too legit sometimes, but I'm trying to own it and just be confident in it.
You should call
You're
it
the
like
freaking
this,
creative
the
director.
CEO of creativity.
Sure, something like that. Well, I'm technically not. That's KDG. That's her role. But
Oh, actually, she's the CEO of creativity.
well, she's just the CEO.
So you're the
and-
CEO of creativity.
Wait,
Yeah, but she's the artiste.
I got
She's
you.
the artist.
I got you.
So, but that helps
You're just the
explain.
director.
I'm just here to facilitate. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
No, I really love my job. I tell people this all the time because it's just really cool, but it's really easy to get out of bed every day because of it. And I just feel like I'm really blessed and really lucky to have a job
Mhm.
like that because I feel like it's just so uncommon to come
Mhm.
by. But anyways, we'll get into that later. But I am the creative director. I've been at Hosanna for the last 3 years, and I started as a graphic design intern. And it was really fun because it's a really small business. I'm doing such a bad job
No,
of
you're not.
explaining.
You're doing all right.
Hosanna Revival is a small company in Cincinnati, and we make intentional tools that are beautiful and fun. We make Bibles and journals and planners and calendars and
All the things.
all the things. I mean, literally anything you can think of. And it's cool because it's intentional in the way that it's like we're not just slapping, Bible verses and scripture over everything, but it's really thought through of like, okay, how do we get women and now men too, which is really cool. Our brand is starting to.
know that.
You didn't know
Yeah, I
that?
didn't know that.
We have products for guys. Like we just released a couple of Bibles that are for men.
Manly Bibles.
That did turn out, that is so funny.
What was that, like a sword on it and like a bear pelt?
No, close though. There's like
There's
a
definitely a bear on
There's
it.
like it's
there's some like
camouflage.
trees on one on our Anchorage
yeah.
Bible. It's
I love the
It's a good time.
trees.
Yeah.
um
I do love a good
do
tree.
love me
nature.
some trees.
So manly. No, I feel
Leaves.
like we've started to kind of make products that are broader, maybe more not like gender specific or anything, which has been really cool. But yeah, so what I was saying a little bit earlier was we don't try to just like slap scripture everywhere, but we try to do product development super carefully in the way that we just believe that beautiful tools and beautiful products will get people to engage with them and then ultimately find the heart of God in those things. So obviously it's a Bible that is
So is that kind of like your mission statement, like beautiful tools and beautiful products?
Yeah, to help women engage with scripture. That's exactly our mission statement.
Sick.
Help women engage in
Oh.
scripture.
People.
That's gonna have
W
to
is in a
change.
parenthesis. And then there's the men too.
Yeah.
Or no,
Yeah.
the men's in parentheses.
Oh my gosh.
No.
It did start out as women, and now we have broadened it to
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
So
When you grow, you gotta.
You gotta,
you gotta
expand.
change with
Gotta
it.
You gotta
Yeah.
expand.
Yeah, but it's really awesome, and I just feel like it was such a gift. in my life because I graduated with an art degree, not graphic design, not business, like anything like that, literally just art. And I was like, oh no. It's one of those things where people are always like, you know, you shouldn't go to art school because like, what are you going to do
like
with that
top
degree?
3 regretted majors.
I know it really is. And it's really scary to graduate with an art degree. But it truly was just such a gift from the Lord of like, hey, I want you to do this for me now. Like this is about me. It's not about you. And I want to take your gifts and like use them and multiply it, which is really cool. And honestly, I like what I was saying earlier again too. It's like, it just makes my job so much easier, and it makes, you know, getting out of bed easier. And I don't know. I think when there's purpose behind what you're doing, it just makes everything easier, which is a simple concept.
Helps you show up.
Yeah.
So I really love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Creative director. I didn't really explain what I do, but I
Directs
manage
creativity.
I don't have to ask her any questions. She's going all in. I love this.
Okay, great.
Makes my job easy.
Great. I'm glad I could do that for you.
She's like asking herself questions out here. Creative director, what does that mean? Let me tell you.
Let me tell you. So I manage a small team. And that has been so fun. There's 2 designers that I manage now, which is really cool because it was just me for the longest time. And then Katie, who is my boss, she's the CEO. She's the one that started the company.
CEO of everything.
Of everything. She is the one that started the company. She started hand painting Bibles. I think it was 2015. Don't kill me if it's wrong, Katie, if you're listening to this. But
It's actually 2014.
We're 6. So what year is it again? 2021. So 2015. Yeah. Okay, I was right. It's like I know my things. But
she knows everyone.
She knows.
I know. Just so everyone knows.
She's a director.
I know my
at the
facts.
company.
I should know my facts.
She knows.
But she started hand painting and rebinding Bibles, and that kind of is what ignited everything. And so she started it, and you know, they started growing rapidly and getting a lot of very large like publishing deals. Started getting huge wholesale opportunities. Their team started to grow, and I remember like right after I graduated college, I'd worked this really crappy job at the YMCA as a camp counselor. I loved it. It taught me a lot. But you remember those days, don't you?
I do remember those days.
They were a little rough, but did teach me a lot. And I had really great coworkers that we just got each other through that summer. So,
aren't you guys like, don't you have a warehouse now or something? Or
yeah, so
like
we
it's
actually,
huge.
Yes,
now.
so we actually just moved probably like 3 weeks ago at this point. But not far from our old office. It's literally in another building that's like 50 yards behind where we were, which is really fun because we're in Lockland, which is like right outside of Cincinnati, and we just love that community so much. And it's really fun being in that city, but we were really happy to stay in Lockland. So we have a giant warehouse that has like a freight hookup, so like semis can pull into it, which is like so legit. It's just so crazy that even exists. And I forget the exact number, but we did like the math of like how many pallets of products we could fit in our old warehouse versus the new one. And it is a
lot more.
It's a large difference. It is a large difference. But yeah, we have a new office space too. It's all in the same building, which is really fun. And our office is 2 stories, which is different. Not used to those stairs. Gotta get used to those.
Gotta get the stairs in, you know?
Stairs.
I know.
Have the extra
but
exercise.
yeah, but it's really fun. So we have a new office space, and yeah, it's really great. I can't remember if there was anything else to.
I literally
I guess so. Like
we were just asking about your job.
we asked one question.
Well, to round it out though about like what I actually do, because Katie is an important part of this, but she hand paints everything for products, and you know, literally everything that we do is touched by her artistic hand. And then my job is a conduit basically of like funneling, you know, her art into everything else. So like, how does it get into the marketing? How does it get into the photos and the videos? And how does it get onto products and stuff like that? So that's kind of my job, is to organize and make sure that everything is beautiful coming from her and then ending in the main process. So yeah, it's really fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Thanks. It's such a gift and such a dream to work there. So yeah.
I mean, that's just cool because you get to do like what you love every day for work.
I know.
Which not a lot of people get to do.
I know. And I just feel like I take it for granted sometimes, but it's just so fun. And like, there's only 8 of us on the team yet, which still like blows my mind because of like how
8.
There's 8 of. Well, there might be 9 now. I can't remember. We're in the process of like hiring and stuff, and there's interns like coming in and out. But yeah, there's 8 of us.
Like
solid.
I've seen like how much it's grown. I'm like,
only 8 people are doing that.
It's just crazy.
Like I remember like, I don't even know how many years ago. Like when it first started, I was like, what? This is so small. Like,
1 or 2 people.
How do people even hear about this? Like,
I know.
And then
so
I looked on
crazy.
Instagram the other day. I don't know why. It was like on my stories or whatever. And I checked it out. And it was like thousands of followers.
Yeah, we have
like
a lot.
hundreds.
That's like
of
our
thousands
main.
of followers.
Our main gig is Instagram. It's where most of our like audience and community.
It's just impressive how
yeah,
much it's grown.
It's really cool. But there's only 8 of us, and we're all really great friends too, which is also just a blast every day. And there's always something happening, and it's just a really fun
Office
culture.
pranks.
Office pranks. We love it. I'm not even
Gotta put
kidding.
a stapler in Jello.
Yep. I'll try it out sometime.
You got to. Classic prank right there.
But it's really fun, and it's just really cool to. I mean, honestly, my job is my ministry, and I try to look at it like that. Because I mean, it just is, and it morphs with that, which I think is really unique. And I don't know, it can be hard. I'm not trying to like make it sound like this glamorous thing, because it's not a glamorous job all the time, and it is really hard because there's only 8 of us, and because we're like still figuring out like, how do we talk to China and like manufacturing? How do we like pull off, this new crazy thing or whatever? Like, it's nerve-wracking to launch a new product and not know how it's going to do. And I don't know, it's not glamorous all the time, I will say that, but we have just seen the Lord's faithfulness all over it. And just the way that like, even when things go wrong, it's still like useful and still purposeful, which is just super cool. But I don't even know where I was going with that.
Yeah,
That's okay. You were just
going.
You're just explaining
all
job.
the things, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really fun, and I guess now I know what I was saying. Because we are all like such good friends, it feels like a ministry team, like we're on mission together, and it's really fun to have coworkers who are on board for the mission of Hosanna Revival. And of course, like, we're not going to hire someone if they don't believe in that mission. Cut that part out. That's not true. Everyone's advised. No, I'm serious though. Can you cut that out? They're going to cancel me.
They're not going to cancel you.
Okay.
I'll cut it.
Okay, go back to what you were saying.
No, it can be a hard cut. It would just, I'll find a place for it.
Great.
So I can start off by asking a question. That way it doesn't sound too like, I'll find a pause and then I'll be like,
Okay. Sorry.
you're good.
I
Ready?
feel good. Yeah.
All right. One thing I wanted to ask, because I mean, you get to do art, design, creativity for work. Like, what do you love about those things? Graphic design, art, whichever path you want to take. What do you love about it?
It's a great question. It's so interesting because I don't know, I've always loved art. It is probably one of the most like innate things about myself, and like it almost feels like it's a part of like my genetic makeup, even though I know it's not, and that's like not possible, but
Could be.
I don't know, but like
strand. In the DNA, one of those bars. Art.
There's an extra coil or whatever those are called. Just says art, and that's it. Big art girl.
It's an ART strand.
Yes. Have you heard the new strand?
DNA strand.
Yes.
ART.
ART. But ever since I was little, I mean, my very first word was marker, which is a fun fact I like to tell people.
I have no idea what my first word was.
Marker.
It was not mom. It was not dad. It was marker. I
Shows
want
you where the
marker.
real priorities are.
Wow. How old were you?
I don't really know.
I
You're like one or two?
Yeah, whenever babies
Just play
start
with
Speaking.
talking.
markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my mom, she
You were born to do this.
You were
I
made
don't-
for this.
throw it up, YL, let's go. But
man.
yeah, so I've always loved art. My mom is an artist too, so it's where I get it from. So it just makes sense. It's like it has always been there. And I even want to give credit to my dad too, because he always is like, oh, like, you know, and that's like your mom's thing. But my dad is like really skilled at drawing, like really, like almost like engineer, like very
Yeah.
geometric stuff. He is a welder and like works on cars and stuff, and like can draw these like models.
It's in
and
your
stuff.
blood.
I don't know. Something's in there. I don't know.
DNA,
It's all
man.
It's
swirling
the
around.
art DNA.
Art DNA.
I don't know. But I feel like there is some like due credit for him too
Yeah.
on his
Yeah.
side, because I'm like, he's like actually like pretty talented. He just like doesn't like invest in it really.
Yeah.
But it's like he can do it if he wants to, or if he has like a vision for something
Mhm.
or like a design vision, he'll like lay it all out. Like he knows how to do it, which is pretty cool.
So was the skill always there, or do you like work for it and push yourself to try and get better?
I think I don't know. I always tell people, because in college I studied art therapy, and so that's like another huge like passion of mine. And I think everyone's creative, and I think that anyone can do art. And obviously, like, you know, there's varying like skill levels that people are just like that they naturally have. So I feel like it's unfair to be like, I was born perfect and I came out of the womb just drawing in perfect proportion.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
be surprised.
That's
She
not.
comes out of the womb with a marker, drawing.
Comes out yeah, seriously. Like,
That's Amanda Adams, everyone,
No,
for you.
no.
Oh, you said
my gosh, you said
Amanda.
Amanda.
Whenever I always say Amanda if I
That's,
say Amanda Adams.
That's true.
That's true, Mandy Adams.
That is true.
Amanda Adams.
I always do Amanda Adams or Mandy.
Wow, one or the other, no in between. But anyways, I think for me personally, like obviously because my parents like love and appreciate art, I was conditioned in that way. Like I was set up well, and so I always had like a coloring book or
Coloring
like
books, yeah.
everything, you know. I just always had coloring books. I think that's kind of where it started. That's my like earliest.
Got one of
memory.
those like painting books at like 3. You could just like
Paint by number.
yeah.
But that is like my earliest memory of art is like coloring books. And then I really honestly I didn't like, I remember like elementary school I liked art class, but I wasn't like I want to be the best or like I want to like
You just already were the best.
She's like, I don't even try.
no, I definitely wasn't. I don't know. I just like didn't really care about it. And I remember like, I feel like in like 4th and 5th grade,
Yeah.
it's when people start to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would be like, I don't know, a nurse. Like I remember telling people that, like, I just had no idea. And like,
A nurse?
I had,
A teacher?
yeah. Not that
spaceman.
nurses aren't bad though. Nurses save our lives every day. Shout out to the nurses.
Shout out
Smartest
to
people I
them.
know.
Shout
All you
out to
nurses
them.
out there, we love you.
We love you guys. You guys literally are
Thank you,
saving
nurse.
us right now
Yeah.
in this.
The nurse that helped me in that
Pandemic.
hospital one time. Thank you.
Big shout out to him, yeah.
Yeah.
All the nurses.
All
true
the nurses
homies.
that
True
helped me throughout all my injuries and
Yeah.
conditions
Yes.
and
Conditions,
diseases.
ailments. But I think, yeah, I wasn't really interested in it at all. And then I don't really know.
When did the flip switch?
Yeah.
I mean, the switch flip.
The flip switch.
You
When
know.
did the flip switch?
That was like a skateboarding trick.
I know.
Flip switch 720.
You know, the flip switch.
When did the flip switch?
Anyways, middle school is definitely when the flip switched. I will tell you that. I don't know if it was the hormones. I don't know exactly what was going on, but
The hormones made
the
you
art
an artist.
DNA finally went.
The art
Turning
DNA finally turned on. Yeah.
it turned
It
on.
finally flipped on.
I don't know, but I just remember I had really good art teachers in middle school, and I started to get really curious about it. And I
Yeah.
remember I would go to my grandpa's house every weekend. We'd watch UK basketball, and I'd sit there.
Go Cats.
I know. BBN, let's go. Andrew's shaking his head right now.
Go Bucks.
But I just remember I was super curious, and I really loved portraiture. That was like my hook, I guess. Like that's what really caught my attention, and I loved like like the grid portraits where you like basically measure everything out first and like compare it to an image source, and then you just draw from that. And that's like honestly, that's like really how I learned portraiture, was through grid drawings like
I
that.
remember doing grid drawings.
Yeah,
in, like,
everybody's done
grade.
it. Everybody's done at least one.
I was so bad at it.
But I just loved it, and there was something so enthralling about it for me.
Yeah.
It was so magnetic. I don't really understand it, and that's why I say it was just something so innate. And I don't think it's hard, because I know that like people are like, I think the same thing about like musicians and like singing, because like for me personally, like I did not grow up. This is kind of a random side tangent, if that's okay, but I didn't grow up. And music is another huge part of my life too, just for context. But
she's very good.
Thank you.
Quite good.
Thank you. It's just so interesting though, because I like didn't grow up doing music, and right around the same time I started playing guitar at this time, but never would sing ever. Like I just was so shy about. I'm just a naturally shy person, I think in general, but was very shy about it. It was one of those things that I told myself, I was like, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that, so I won't do it.
And look at you now.
I overcame a lot, honestly.
It is so many times.
So many times.
In front of people.
And it scares me every
all the
time.
Yeah.
Really?
Literally
It
all the
does.
time.
It is a huge source of anxiety.
So why do you keep doing it?
Because I feel like the Lord called me to it in a really weird way, which I don't know if you want me to go into it now, or you can ask it later, or like.
Sure. I don't know. Whatever you feel like doing.
I'll finish this story.
Yeah, I think she was in the middle of something.
Like
but
my art journey.
Circle back.
We'll circle back, because I think it relates to like, what you're doing with this podcast. I think it would be worthwhile, but to talk about. But anyways, so with art or with music is what I was trying to compare with art stuff is, I naturally like am not like a good singer. Naturally is what I would deem myself. Don't hang on. Don't even make
That's
that
false
face.
from my ears, at least.
But when I was in middle school and stuff, I literally didn't know how to sing. I'm not even kidding. Like I couldn't sing, and I even remember like my mom being like, like you could do like backup vocals one day, like something like that. Like just
Dang, Mom.
Keep practicing,
I love my
sweetie.
My mom's gonna listen to this and be so embarrassed. She's the best. But anyways, I didn't grow up naturally like good at singing, and then in high school through a lot of circumstances I cheered and I did a lot of stuff, but ended up not cheering, and I was like, well, I need something else to do, and so I joined Corlears, which as you know, Paul, from going to Fairfield, it's a big deal to be in Corlears.
Big deal.
It's like
singing and dancing.
And it's competitive, and it's a huge like culture thing. Like it's so interesting and fascinating. It's a whole other world, and like it was this thing of like either you play football or you do Corlears or you do both. Like
or tennis.
Wow.
But it was like a really big deal at our school, and I'm not saying that to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm so cool I was in Corlears. It's not it at all. Like it
That is
literally
what
is
she's
just
saying.
I think most of the people I know from Edgewood
are in show
were
choir.
in Corlears.
Yes, yeah, like everyone did it.
Pretty
And
much everyone.
yeah, and like my whole friend group from high school, that's how I like know them. Like those were my best friendships in high school were from Corlears. It's such a special thing. But anyways, from being in that, I literally was taught how to sing, and then like was able to like pocket that and carry that with me into college. And it again wasn't something that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna use this, but it's like, oh, it's like fun to like do harmonies or whatever. Like, oh, it's this fun thing that I have, but it's like I'm not gonna share that. And I feel like early college I just saw the Lord like unraveling me in so many ways of like, no, but you are like, and that it pertains to art as well too, because I feel like he did the same thing there. But especially in my job. But in college, it was like, hey, do you want to like lead this small like worship night that we're doing on Thursdays? And I remember the first time that I led it, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm so scared, like shaking in my boots, like, and I have like a naturally like quiet, literally though, like I could barely breathe, and you gotta breathe to sing it if you can.
Yeah.
It's bad news for you, but
yeah, I've been there too. Like,
yep.
I'm not a good singer, and like
Hey,
there was no one to play terrific one day, and I was like,
well,
I mean, I can play the guitar a little bit, so like, yeah.
Singing and keeping it like the melody and everything is hard too.
Yeah,
it's hard to do. It's hard to play guitar and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
It really is, and but I feel like that was one of the things where it was like, I'm not naturally good at this, but I learned something and I pocketed a skill, and now like I'm going to do something with it. Not out of like a selfish ambition, but because like I'm being called to this and I'm being asked to this, which is really cool. But I feel like, anyway, circling back for the third time, I was like, this is going to be a 4-hour podcast by the end of this. But I think circling back to what you were asking about, like, you know, did I just practice it? Is it a natural skill? Like, you know, where do people fall in that? And I feel like you can fall into camps of like, you know, sure, some people are born with more of a skill or more of a leg up, but I do think it can be learned. I think creativity for sure can be a learned or practiced thing. And I think for me, it was something, I'll give myself this, it was innate, and it was like there, and my parents fostered it really well, and so it was just easier for me to grasp it, I think, because of the environment I was in. But I think like because I loved it so much and because I was so curious about it, I put that skill and that practice on top of it. Because like what I was saying, at my grandpa's house on Saturdays, that's all I would do was draw. I mean, portraits after portraits. I mean, I was cranking them out. I'm like, I don't.
Do you still have them?
Do you still have them?
I think my mom still has.
I'll buy one.
I'd buy one.
They're so bad.
Right there.
It's like the Taylor Swift Fearless. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's the Taylor Swift
Fearless album cover. I remember that was like one of my very first.
Many people say Amanda looks like.
They do.
I keep saying
Taylor
Amanda now on the podcast. Mandy looks like Taylor Swift.
They do. I get that a lot.
I see it.
Just I don't see it
Not,
though.
well,
It's
now
like
she
a
has her
mixture
straight
of,
hair.
like,
No, but the
Taylor
curly hair,
Swift
country Taylor.
Definitely country Taylor I can understand because of the hair, but I don't think my like actual face looks like.
It's kind of like, I don't know, Taylor Swift and Tori Kelly mix.
I have gotten Tori Kelly a lot, and if you remember,
Who's Tori Kelly?
You don't know who Tori Kelly is?
I probably do. I'm better with faces. I'm not good with
amazing.
names.
Was she on American Idol at one point?
Well, yeah, no, I definitely don't know who that is. I watched like 2 seasons of American
She's
Idol.
So good.
Yeah.
It truly is an honor to be compared to Tori Kelly sometimes, but.
That's Tori Kelly.
How would I know who that is?
I mean, she's the voice of the elephant in Sing, so that's how. Andrew, everybody knows.
Does she do other things? Does she have songs?
Cover of Hallelujah.
That one song that was on the radio that was like, "Ain't nobody love."
No, like the.
Do you remember?
We can't get copyrighted, guys. Copyright infringement.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Cut that.
Cut that one.
I mean, I see the resemblance. I just don't know who that is.
That's okay. You should listen to her music. She's great.
She's pretty good.
Well, yeah, she is good. Sometimes I don't like a song. Wait, there's like a.
Tori Kelly, you're great if you're listening to this.
I don't know. Tori Kelly. Shout out.
Anyway.
Her real name is Victoria Lauren. Loren.
Whoa.
Kelly.
Whoa.
She has 3 first names.
Wild. So do I.
You have 4.
Ludi is not a first name.
Ludus is. Though.
Ludus.
Anyway,
enough about Tori Kelly and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
We're here
So
with
for audio
Mandy.
listeners, merge those two and you have Mandy.
I don't know. I feel like
She's too humble.
overhyping it. I don't know.
Nope. Anyway.
Anyways.
Don't worry, we'll find your lookalike.
Okay.
No, you're one of a kind.
Mandy Adams, guys. Where were we?
Many
We're
Adams.
talking
we're
about
making-
skill versus like,
Yeah.
did I just practice
nurture
it?
versus nature.
ooh, spicy.
I was about to
Crazy.
say that.
Oh, beat you to
We
it.
got on
Yes.
this Tori Kelly Taylor Swift thing. And it didn't-
I guess I'll round it out by saying that I do think I was set up well in my childhood. And then in high school and then middle school too, I like was really curious about it, was doing it all the time, locked in my room or at my grandpa's house, drawing all the time. And then in high school is when I really started to like, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I think I knew that in middle school too, but
Wow.
I had a really amazing
That's awesome.
teacher, Mr. Pletz, shout out.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
Putts.
Pletz.
Let's.
Yeah. He just like anything, like I just remember like I would get so ahead of like, you know, whatever class I was in, and he just got to the point where he was like, you just do whatever you want to do and I will help.
And
Make
you'll
that
get 100
happen.
in the class.
No. But that's the
cool.
thing. It was like that was never my goal. I was like, I just love this, and he knew that, and he just like trusted me with it. And
So you just did it like for fun outside of the classroom.
yeah. I mean, I was.
But like you would turn in some stuff like. Every
No,
once
I
in a
mean, I
while.
would still do all the same projects. I wasn't special in any
but-
way.
No, yeah.
But
No.
That's
No,
not what I
no.
was saying. I was
But-
saying like
Yeah. No.
you would do like the stuff outside, and like you could do like multiple of the same project. I don't know.
well, it was
Like
more
if you really
so-
liked it, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing these. And
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I was doing like double the amount of work, but it was like I just ran out of art classes to take. So by the time I was
Oh.
a senior, I
Humble
was,
flex right there.
and I mean, it goes. I mean,
It just
the
goes to show you loved it.
I loved it, and like the high school that I went to honestly didn't have a ton of like options for art classes, which like isn't, I don't know, that's like a budgeting thing. I don't know. I want to like offend
Yeah.
anyone.
yeah,
Canceled.
But I am
canceled.
immediately canceled. But at the time, I think it actually has grown a lot through like people that I've talked to, but
Mm-hmm.
it has grown a ton. But like they didn't have AP art. They didn't have like, you know, specific like segmented classes. They had a few. There's like probably 3 or 4, but I knew what I was interested in. And, you know, I wasn't interested in like ceramics or like 3D art. I was like, I know I want to paint. I know I want to draw. I did digital art for a couple of years too in high school. And so I like kind of ran out of like stuff to do. And he was just so kind and so great.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone loved him. He was just such a kind human and just really loved us as students. But he just really, I think, helped me develop like my skills and put the right amount of pressure on me, but not too much where I like hated what I was doing, which I think is super important. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
so that's my very long answer to that question.
I love it. I don't have to
I love
ask.
it, yeah.
So I feel like I was just prepared to like ask question and peel the onion.
But I peeled it.
You peeled it yourself.
You've been
And I
peeling
chopped
onions
it.
all
I loved
the
it.
time.
And you got to the core, you cut it up, you diced it,
Yeah.
you started cooking it. It's great.
Great.
It's great.
Yeah.
Glad we could get there.
Yeah. One last question, just for time's sake, 'cause I do want to talk about other things as well.
I know. I'm sorry.
Stop apologizing. You're fine.
that
This is
is-
good.
That is truly one of my worst
know.
things.
It's
I'm
not
really bad at
worse.
that.
It's not like a bad thing.
I know, but I do need to work on it.
Just
And I'm
be
aware.
confident and go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
What
trying.
scares you about art, design, music? Like,
Oh, that's a really good question. I like that question. I think what scares me, so it's funny because I feel like I have ended up doing the things that I didn't think I would be doing, which is really funny. Because like I said before, I studied fine art in college and art therapy. And I am not doing either of those things currently, which is
Paul, what was your major?
Education studies.
Are you doing that?
No.
Okay.
great. I'm not alone. I think a lot of people relate to this. But so that was kind of the leap of faith in taking the job at Hosanna, was because it was like, well, can you do graphic design? And I was like, I didn't study it, but I can figure it out.
But I can.
But I can.
Yeah.
And so I think
say yes, figure it out
I
later.
mean, I think it's
Yeah.
good that you have this like artistic, creative
Well, yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
So like they're probably like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, we
you
trust her.
have
She
probably
can
what a
do
lot
it.
of people lack. Like you have a vision. I feel like you can see something in your head, creativity wise, art wise, and like follow that. Where I feel like a lot of people don't have that.
I
think
guess
that's what sets you
so.
apart, in my
Thanks.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's really kind. I hope that's true. I feel like it
It
could
is.
be. I don't know.
it is. It is.
Just accept it.
Okay.
Yes.
I will accept it. Thank you. That's very kind. But yeah, I think what scares me is, I think, there's all the technical stuff that could scare me. So like, not knowing how to use InDesign, that was a huge learning curve for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is a monster. This thing is crazy. And I think music honestly might lend a better example to this than art for me, because it's like
Sure.
with art, I feel like I can figure most things out, or like because I like it and because I'm invested. Not that I don't like music either. I don't know. But I feel like because I don't know, I just have more of a like.
What scares you about music, Mandy?
Great. Okay. Cut me off. I'm just kidding. But I think what scares me about music is the fact that, like what I was saying earlier, it's like not a natural thing. I had to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm not the best at it, and I'm okay with that, and I like am accepting of that. But it's like, how do you do something, like just doing things without the approval of others is huge for me. Like just making, I think this about art and like social media and that intersection a lot too, because it's like, and obviously like, I think we're all like guilty of this. At least I know myself. I'm like, I fall in this a lot, but like, I feel like we find ourselves making art or like making music or like, filming videos of you singing or whatever and posting it on the internet. And it's like, no, that's not a bad thing, but it's like you're trying to prove something. And I feel like I do that with art a lot, where it's like, I am painting this thing, but it's like I consciously go into that piece knowing I'm painting this for Instagram. Yeah. I'm painting this for someone in my brain. And this is like outside of commission work. I don't mean in a commission like environment, but I think like,
in a way.
Yeah, but I think like I often have found myself like painting something because I want to post it on social media. I'm like, that takes the whole fun out of it. I'm like, how do we like navigate this weird like media versus culture and like art? Like, how do we like pull that out of it? How do we pull the eyes of others like out of the stuff that we truly love and that are passionate about? And like, how do we do stuff? How do we make things without posting it on the internet? Or how do we
just do it?
I know. You just do it. It's as simple as that. But it's such an interesting thing because it's like, it is, I mean, being an artist though means you do have to be business minded in a way, because you have to promote yourself and you have to like
sell yourself.
Yeah. And like Instagram is a huge platform. But anyways, that's a whole other tangent. Something that I think about a lot. But I think what scares me the most, specifically in like music, is it's vulnerable. It's really vulnerable. I think art can be vulnerable too. I don't think, I know it can be, because I've made some pieces that I'm like, why am I crying while I'm like making this? And like, especially in art school too, because like everything is like thesis based. So it's like, when you start, going into stuff about body image and your insecurities, and then you have to explain it in front of a class of 20. It's really scary.
And then they ask you questions.
And then they have questions back for you.
Like,
they talk back.
I don't know.
Like, I do feel like art critiques in that way taught me a lot of like, how do you defend like your art? Like, how do you defend what you're doing? It's really interesting. It's really cool. But
have you like made music before?
So
or you just like play it?
I just play it.
Wow.
People ask me that a lot actually, which is really funny. I don't write music. I really love poetry, so I often think like, oh, like what if I wrote a song? But I've never written a song, and I don't really plan on it.
You could like turn your poems into songs.
I don't even really like write poetry. I just like to read it. And like I'm sure I've like written poems and stuff. I can't remember. but I'm not like a formal like poet or like writer. I
Mandy
guess.
the poet.
A rebrand. I gotta change my name again. But I think, I think the vulnerability in it is what scares me the most, and I think is what scares a lot of people. But I think with music, it's interesting. That's a good question though, because I don't write. So it's like, well, I'm not really like sharing any like deep personal stories, but it's like, it's so interesting, especially in the worship context in the church. I think for me in my head, it's a lot of pressure because I'm like, it's on me. It's not on me, but in my brain, in my sad little brain, sometimes I'm like, it's on me to like carry these people to Jesus. So like, if I do a bad job, if I really mess this song up, people are going to be distracted and then can't thoroughly focus on like what they're doing. So that's a lot, like the technical pressure of it, which is like hard. And this is another thing I wrestle with too, is like worship versus
performing.
And self awareness. And that it's so hard and it's so common. I mean, you see it all the time with like worship leaders, especially like famous ones, which it's like there shouldn't even be famous worship leaders, but like there are, and it's like that's just, it's a culture and that's just how it is. And but it's like really, really hard, I think, especially in that environment, to separate self from like worship. And how do you make it pure? It's so hard. Like I am not good at it. I don't know. I mean, I do know people that are very good at it. Katie Noble is one of them, and I love her.
But does she just appear to be good at it? Like, or she probably struggles.
Oh,
with
she
same
struggles.
thoughts.
I know that, and we've had conversations about that. She actually discipled me through leading music at the church that we went to, and so I think, like I know that she has, and it's something that we talk about, and it's like how do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it?
But and I don't think there's an answer. I think it's a lot of prayer and a lot of self-awareness and self-assessment. But anyways, that's like the technical scary stuff is this pressure that I put on myself. And then I think the second pressure, or like the second scary thing, is just like the act of singing. And I don't know how to describe it other than it is so vulnerable and personal. You're just like naked in front of people is what it feels like, to be very blunt. But like you are stripped down to nothing, especially in a worship session, because it's like, I don't know. I learned, this is a token from Katie Noble. This is not something that I knew about. She was the one that told me about this, and I think it's so fascinating. It's one of my favorite things to tell people. But I think it was in like Sweden, maybe somewhere over there.
So you're saying Sweden, maybe.
Sweden, somewhere over.
Britney Spears, baby.
You should write a song called Sweden.
Okay, that'll be
maybe.
my first song that I write.
I'll
By
write it.
Mandy the poet.
I'll write
Mandy
it.
the poet.
I can write it, and then you can
Perform
you can
it.
perform it.
You gotta do. But this study, it's so fascinating and so cool. I love to tell people about this. I love to nerd out about it. But in Sweden, in a church choir, I don't even know if it was a church choir, it was just a choir. They attached heart monitors to each member of this choir, and they made them sing songs that were structured differently. So this is like the most vague description of this, but they made them do like a normal song, and then they did hymns, which are structured like really intentionally, especially with like the breath. And they found that in hymns and a hymnal structure, when you sing with other people, basically your heart beats align. So it's like worship is truly designed in a way that aligns not only us as a congregation, but like us to God. And so it's like just cool that it's like we are physically connected to each other when we sing together. And I think that's true when you sing a normal song too. But I think it's just interesting that it's like structurally the way that like hymns and like songs from the old church are like made, it's like intentionally designed to like align you, because when you're all, you know, breathing together, it aligns your heartbeat, which is I feel like
That's me when
people
I'm singing.
listening to this are gonna like be so much more aware of like every breath that I take from now on. But I just think that's so fascinating that it's like we are physically attached to each other when we sing. And so I think
have
that's
never thought about that.
I know.
I've heard that before from you.
Yes.
I
I was
don't
like,
know
I'm
when,
sure I
but, like-
nerded out about it before.
Like 3-4 years ago, I think you
Yeah.
told me that.
No, it's so cool. And so I think it's so cool, but it's also so scary, because I
Yeah.
think that's what adds to the vulnerability of like knowing that you are in deep communion with other people through music. And like you see music all over the scriptures and like God's heart. So I don't know.
That's cool. Blew my mind then and blows my mind now.
That
It's
is
so cool,
mind-blowing.
but it is like scary when you're in charge of it and you're like, okay, you gotta like foster it. So
So like when you're up there, how much is that on your mind? Like while you are leading?
I think I don't know. Honestly, it's hard because it is half a job too. So it's like I do have to go into like a bit of a focus mode, and I think every worship leader or performer, would relate to this in a way. So I think like I think this goes to this, you know, separating yourself versus like, you know, worship. But I think it's really hard to make that an intentional thought, because I'm so focused on like, okay, I got to play the right chords, and then I got to sing the right note, and then I got to play in this turnaround, and I got to make sure I know that this is 4 bars instead of 8, and like all the notes that we took in practice before. So it's like it does take a healthy balance of like, okay, I do have a job to do, I do have to focus a little bit, but I think that's where you know, some days are better than others, I guess, to answer your question. Is like some days I do think about it and some days I don't, because I'm just like really focused on, you know, sometimes songs are harder to play than others, and if I have to lead a song, that's a whole different thing. You know, it's all like I have to carry it and make sure I'm like on it. So it's like, I think too, like knowing songs really well and like practicing them really well and like stewarding your gifts in preparation, I think helps lead to that forgetfulness almost in a way. But it's like, you don't want to be too calculated.
The balance.
It's a healthy balance, I think. I don't really know. That's a hard question, because it's like I'm not really aware of like what I'm doing sometimes there.
Would you say you are unaware?
I'm waiting.
Seamless plug. Seamless plug. But there are some days that I'm like, I think I blacked out. I don't even know what I did. I hope it was good. Like, and I feel like sometimes those are the best, like, you know, reps that we had was when it was like, oh, I just
when you don't even
You just
realize
did
what
it.
you're doing.
Yeah.
You just kind of like,
which is really
doing it.
cool. And I feel like, it's just cool to be like, oh, I just did it, and like, I don't know, I didn't let myself get too nervous. I think that's my issue too, is I'm just like naturally a very nervous person, and I sometimes like let that get the best of me, especially at
That's okay.
church and like doing worship stuff. But it happens. It's a human thing. We're
It
humans.
does.
We
are
have
humans.
limits, you know?
Wait, you're human?
I am. Surprise.
Thought you were a robot.
Wow.
Mandy the robot. That's what I always thought.
Wow.
Gosh.
Fourth name?
Mandy the poet, Mandy the robot. You got a lot of rapper names right now.
I know.
Isn't that one kids show? It's like there's a robot. Isn't that one named Mandy?
I don't know, dude.
I forget what show it is
A
though.
robot in a kid's show.
I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking of iCarly, but there's definitely not a robot in iCarly.
It's animated, I'm going to guess.
It's a cartoon. It's like from our childhood.
Oh, I can think of Goddard from Jimmy Neutron. That's the only robot
Yeah.
I can think of.
That can't
gosh.
remember it. Maybe I'll figure it out.
Mandy the robot? What show, Paul?
There's no way.
wait. I'm mixing up like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and then some other show where there's a robot.
I don't know. I don't know.
Have you heard of that show though?
I haven't heard of that one.
What?
I've heard of it. I never watched
What?
it.
Okay. We're done
Sorry.
Paul, you're weird.
Sorry.
It's better to be weird. It's boring to be normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Come on, if you're
I
normal.
think you're the weird one for not seeing these shows that like made up our childhood.
That made Mandy a robot.
No,
Okay.
Mandy's not a robot.
Well, time for a message from our sponsors. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please go check out Project Unaware because that's my bank account and all the good things.
This podcast is sponsored by Andrew's Wallet,
AKA Project Unaware, AKA the Unaware Podcast, AKA
aka Brown Lightning.
And now back to the main show. Oh man, one of these days that will actually be a sponsor. No, I am a
And
sponsor.
how-
That's what I'm saying.
How magical will it be when you have a real sponsor? And then
What
you
if
be
we
like,
get
guys, we
what if
actually
we
have
get
a real
sponsored by Hosanna Revival?
Shoot,
Let's
it could
work on
happen.
it. We got to grow some
It's
audience
like,
and
I
everything.
got a guy you can email. I'll send you.
Yeah, I'll give you my
Yeah.
Project Unaware email,
Great.
the real official one.
Great.
Or maybe I'll get you a Mandy at projectunaware.com for lead
shoot,
designer.
I'm official. That's crazy.
I know.
Oh, wowzers.
But just want to say real fast, thanks for opening up the onion, Mandy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
going
really
into it.
Oh, I
killed it
said
with the
sorry
onion.
again. Dang it.
It's okay. It's just a habit.
It really is.
I'm
happy
we
to open the
appreciate you.
onion.
You were
Open
killing
it
it
up.
with the onion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did my job, which makes it easy on me.
Great.
So, and guys, she was nervous before this, so I was like, all right, we're just gonna have to ask questions, and then she's you chill. So
I
you did
chilled
good.
out, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened. But
But I did, actually, I'm gonna change the main topic of today because you brought up something earlier about social media, and I was planning on talking
Ooh.
about that in a
Just
later
talk
episode.
about. Yeah, she'll be on again. We can just.
Yeah, there'll be a part two. So we'll talk about the main topic that we had planned today at another time.
great.
But
I love
point
it.
of this show is to go where it goes.
I love it.
Yeah, we were.
I'm feeling
I was-
spontaneous. This is great.
I was
Yeah.
unaware that we would be changing topics like this.
I was too.
I feel like that's the whole purpose of the show is like Andrew
Paul-
sending you notes of like what you're going to talk about, and then he just throws you a curveball every time.
There's also not
and
many
then-
notes.
and
It's
then-
just a couple
yeah.
bullet points.
And then I always come up with like unaware puns.
He just does puns. Yeah, anytime he can
Great.
slide one in there, it's
We
always
love
there.
it. We love to see it.
But I wanted to, in another
Yeah, where are
episode,
we going with
explore like
this?
social media, right? And like the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
And you brought up something that like I think a lot of people think about.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it from the art side. Well, I guess I have with photography. It's like, oh, this is a cool photo. If I post this, people will like it. You know,
People
there's
ask me
like,
to take their pictures now.
yeah, or and it's
Yeah.
like, what is good about social media and what is bad? Like it's done a lot of good, but it also makes you create for, like you said, the attention or approval of others. People spend so much time on it. Like one of the biggest beefs I have is people end up comparing themselves to everyone else on fill in the blank, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I don't know.
LinkedIn.
People use LinkedIn to like stalk people, and that's the one thing people always say, especially if it's like a boy or a girl that you like and you're like looking at their LinkedIn or whatever.
Wait, that's a thing.
Oh,
Does
it's a
it-
thing.
Does
yes,
it like let you know if someone looks at your
it does.
It does.
So
Unless you have
Who does
incognito,
if you're listening to
incognito
this right
mode.
now,
Huh?
Incognito mode.
That's-
They teach me that in business school.
Sorry, I
If you
don't
turn
have-
on
Yes.
incognito mode.
I
they
don't have this LinkedIn.
It's professional, supposed to be, but
all I'm
apparently people
saying,
stalk people.
long story short, all I'm saying is just don't stalk your crushes on LinkedIn because it's bad news. Unless you're in
Okay.
incognito mode. What did I just say? Incognito
Incognito.
mode. But even that
Incognito.
feels dangerous. So just like don't do it maybe.
Yeah.
Just like don't.
I've had a few exes look at my LinkedIn profile.
See, I told you it's a thing. Like people do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a
That's
thing.
so funny how it lets you know though.
It does. Not everyone. It like shows you
Yeah.
people you know, and then it's like 30 other people have looked. Get premium now to look at who.
Yeah, but like if you're not doing too popular right there, then it's just one person.
Yeah.
Let's say you're like,
I got a decent LinkedIn, guys. Humble flex. had to make it look good for the business world.
Mine has not been updated since college. Because according to LinkedIn right now, I don't have a job.
So do you still get LinkedIn emails from all the recruiters?
I do. It's
looking for a job.
Yeah.
Out of college for 4 years doing
I should
nothing.
have gotten a
doing absolutely.
I should have got a LinkedIn.
You could now. You can make it. It's free.
I have a job.
But okay, how about this? Why would you make a LinkedIn?
I said I should have.
Why?
So that I could have linked with other people.
For what?
Networking.
So that I could get a better job that I would like.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not doing exactly what I wanted to do.
So where does LinkedIn come into play? Like, why does that matter?
Because there's more. I don't know how LinkedIn works, but it everyone uses it. So
So you're gonna be like everyone and use it?
no. Andrew,
I'm just asking questions.
I know, but like, I feel like LinkedIn is a good place to like find jobs, get found by people that are hiring. Whereas what I've been doing is my friends or family are like, yeah, this job is available. And I'm like, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So like every job I've had since I started working has been because I've known someone.
I feel like that's most jobs for people.
Yeah.
Like at
Right.
least 60%.
Yeah.
It's always a friend of a friend or who you know. You know.
Which I just made up that 60% stat. But I know it's somewhere around there.
83%.
You know, like 90% of stats are made up on the spot.
83%
Wow.
of stats are made up on the spot.
Fair enough.
If you get my drift there. Did you?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yes.
What was it?
We're going to keep moving on because
like,
we're going down a
oh,
rabbit hole. We're circling
I feel
back
like
again.
we mention How I Met Your Mother every podcast.
I think we actually have, but that's another rabbit hole. Got to get back to the main point. Question for you, Mandy.
Yes, go for it.
Sorry.
How do
Very good.
you combat like that feeling of creating art for other people versus for yourself? Do you not put the art that you create for yourself on Instagram, or do you still do that?
Oh, that's a good question. How do I combat it? I would say, yeah, I don't post it.
It's for yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of sad because I do have to give myself that boundary. I wish it wasn't that way, but I think just with our culture and society today, I feel like because we're so conditioned to being on social media, I think I have to tell myself like, hey, this one's for you. Like, and it's okay to like
Yeah.
not post this, you know? And I think too, I feel like with art, it's hard because if I'm doing something with like a really in-depth like thesis, or I'm like trying to explore an idea, kind of like meta, like whatever, I don't even know what that means, but like just just like
Uses meta correctly, doesn't know
Doesn't know what it means.
well, I know what meta means, but like I don't know. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like
What the meta is.
We got you.
yeah,
We got
like
you.
what
got
the
you.
The people
what
out there
example
know.
of that
Yeah.
would be. But I feel like when I want to prove something or get attention, it's like, oh, I just want to do something that's like cute or like something that I know will resonate with people. It's almost like strategy in a way. So I think I like try to combat that of like just like rest. Like I think it's just pure rest of like asking myself those questions of like, okay, what's my intention of posting this? Who is it for? Is it for me? Is it for people? I don't think it's wrong to make art for other people, or to like serve an audience.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong to even use your Instagram as like a business.
Right.
tool.
I don't either. I don't think it's wrong either, but I do feel myself sometimes running into that personal conviction of like, man, I just wish I could keep something to myself, you know, and like kind of preserve that.
You can.
And I can, which
But it's hard to
Yeah.
do.
but it's hard. It's really hard. And I think, I mean, it goes for like anything on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like speaking of that, like do you just like play music for yourself? still? Because I know you used to do that.
I used to. My housemates would be like, "Yep, she did." Honestly,
Shout out to him.
yeah, I know. I used to, yeah, and I had like a group of friends. Shout out to those people too, who I would hang out with a lot. And I feel like in the last year, I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in the last year, the answer would be not really, which is a bummer. Yeah. But I do have like a couple pockets of friends that I still see and still hang out with, and they play music too, and so they get it. Or we'll like get together and like, play music and like cover songs for fun. But
funsies.
Yeah, it's not as regular as it was in college because I was seeing those people like regularly. So, but yeah, I'd say in the recent, no, which is a bummer. And same with art too. I feel like because my job is so like art focused, it's hard to like even ask myself like, well, what do I want to make? And obviously I love my job, but it's, it's a job too at the same time. Like it does make me tired.
To do something.
Yeah. And it makes me tired sometimes, and that's okay. It's like the good kind of tired, but it does, it's just switching into that adulthood, so I feel like I'm saying, a lot. But, I would say the answer to that is not as much as I would like. But
I feel like a lot of people would say that about most things after going into like the adult life.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I feel like I haven't picked up the guitar to just play for fun in like over a year.
Same. Even though it's right there.
Reaches for guitar. Yeah, it's so interesting. And I kind of knew that, and I braced for that because it's like, that's just a natural part of life, I think. But I feel like in the last year, though, it's been really cool because I did this thing in October, if you guys remember this, where I painted flowers every day.
I remember this.
And that was really fun. And it was super interesting because going into it, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because A, it's going to be a lot of work. B, I'm going to have to post every day, which honestly was kind of daunting. And I felt very like loud in a way on social media.
Good social media word.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, loud. I don't know if that's just like a insecurity of myself, but I always have this like noise control on
you don't want to be annoying or
something? Yeah. I'm like, I just don't want to overshare, But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. It seems fun. And I did it. And it was really fun. And it was one of those things where I was like, I think that was an okay time to share art, especially because it wasn't really about like how good the stuff I was making. It was more about like accountability in a way of like, oh, I like sat down and I pushed myself today. I was really tired and I got home late, but I still painted a flower, And maybe that's pride. I don't know. Maybe that's feeding
you
something
had a goal,
else.
And you were working towards something.
Yeah. And it was fun too in a community sense because I wasn't the only person doing it. There's an artist I follow. Her name is Shailene Louise, and she's so talented. I don't know her personally, but she's really great. And she was the one that like started it and like made the prompts for each day. And it's kind of an art culture thing too. There's always like a Arttober. There's also Inktober. Like people do like Halloween like prompts every
What month
year.
could be podcast?
Podtober.
There it is.
We'll do a podcast every day.
Yes. Wow.
No.
That's a lot of editing.
That's too much work for me.
It's always October for these things.
I know. Yeah. October is the season. But I was like, oh, it's fun because like, and she wasn't the only, like she had made and like fostered this prompt and like kind of gathered like a little community of people, and you could use like a hashtag and like you could see other people's. And so that's what made it really fun, was being a part of something bigger than yourself. So I think that's
a really cool part of social media.
Yeah, it is. And it's I feel like that's all kind of what we're looking for, is like to be a part of something and to be included in something. And so I feel like that is like a really good example of how I used social media in the past, not because I was trying to prove something of like, oh, look how many flowers I painted, or like, oh, like,
Look
how good they are. Yeah. But it's like, no, I did this because it's like a part of like a movement that's happening right now. And like, it's really fun. And I'm challenging myself too. I feel like I got better. I mean, if you do something every day, you get better at it. And so
I would hope so.
Hopefully. But it was really fun to see like how much better like we were all collectively getting at the same time. And so it's really fun. And I made some like internet friends there. Like, it's just fun. We love some internet friends.
Internet friends for the win.
But it's just really sweet. And it was fun to like engage with people that I might not normally talk to or like see regularly. But yeah, and then I ended up just giving them all away after, because I'm like, this wasn't about
you get
me.
a flower.
You get a flower. But yeah, so it's, and I'm not saying that to be like, oh,
me
like,
and Andrew didn't get flowers. I just like to point that
okay,
out.
but also it's a two-way street. You didn't ask for any.
I didn't know we had to ask.
I didn't know we had to ask. I thought it was implied.
That's
Cool.
true.
That's friends. Yeah.
But-
And shows where we are on the list.
We're just
21 and 22.
But yeah, I think it's like we hold both weights of like, social media is just, it sucks sometimes.
It's
and
toxic.
I have a
Yeah.
really
I mean-
hard relationship with it. Or, you know, then there's the other way of like, there's a lot
It's
of
a
good
good
things.
tool.
It connects you to people. You can use it for marketing and advertising and for a business and
rebranding.
for rebranding, as we know. And it brings people together, especially like in the last year that we've had too. Like, I feel like it was an anchor for people to connect and just check in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, question for you guys: does the good outweigh the bad for you personally? For people
social
overall?
media?
Yeah, for social
Yeah.
media. For you personally, for
I don't-
the broad
that's
group,
so hard.
like general gut reaction.
General gut.
Yeah.
The good does not outweigh the bad for social media.
Why?
I'm getting there. I knew you were gonna ask that. I was just gonna go right.
Best
into
question
it.
to ask. Why? Or even better question: can you be more specific? Learned that
Yeah.
at my work.
I understand like there's a ton of good in social media, but like I feel like social media is just draining to like it just kind of makes you a zombie too. Like you just spend hours scrolling. Like you don't remember what you looked at like 15 minutes ago. So
No.
like what's the point? And then like a lot of people are like not begging, but like they're just like itching for a bunch of likes on stuff, and they're like, oh, this person liked it, this person liked it, this person didn't like it this time. That's kind of weird. Like
I've
noticed
seen
these
people,
things.
like scrolling through trying to find a name.
Even with
Yeah,
stories
like you notice
too.
these things.
Like who's watching your story regularly, stuff like that. Yeah.
Like I don't even look at that. Like I try to not post stories as much anymore. I don't really post that much anymore. I haven't posted since like February.
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's no fulfillment in it, you know?
Yeah.
But like the business side of it, I don't really use it for like the business side of it. So like to me, it's all bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to like connect with people and like win free stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Benefits.
Giveaways.
Because like all these companies have like contests and stuff,
Yeah.
and like I enter like all
Good
the
marketing.
disc golf. I
Yeah.
enter like all the disc
How you
golf
get
contests, and like you tag people, and that's great. That's genius, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything like that right now. So I would say the good does not outweigh the bad.
Yeah.
And I stand by that.
Nice.
Do you agree?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I agree or not, which is interesting. I feel
That's fine.
like
Agree
I
to
don't
disagree.
know. I think I actually might agree because it's hard. I think as a female too, like it's a different perspective because I don't know. Maybe it's not a girl thing. Maybe it's just a me thing.
Say it.
No, but what are you saying?
But I feel like social media, I feel like I really struggle to feel seen. And I feel like that's why everyone goes on social media, is to feel seen and approved and affirmed. And I feel like that's why I use it sometimes, and I don't like that. Like, I do the things that I hate, you know? And I do the things I don't want to do. But I think, I don't know. I don't know what my...
I like agree with like the affirmation part of it. Like, you definitely, like, people definitely use it for like affirmation. They're like, I'm going to post this because I look bomb in it.
Right.
I mean,
everyone's going to comment on it.
Yeah,
and
and
then I'm
then
going to get affirmed.
that, or...
Which is good. Like, it's nice to be affirmed.
But I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't know.
I think I'm leaning on your side.
I don't know about that being the way.
He's agreeing with you, which is causing you to end on his side.
I think I'm.
No, I'm just agreeing with like the affirmation thing.
Oh yeah,
I think that's what a lot of people do.
Right.
I mean, I was guilty of it.
I think everyone is.
Because it's not real. I mean, it's not face to face. You know, it's like there is a worlds of a difference when someone's like, hey, you look really beautiful, and they look you in the eye and tell you that, versus commenting it or just
You're so beautiful.
Yeah.
Flame emoji, heart face,
dripping water,
fire emoji everywhere. But
no,
I think
agree with that.
It's that human interaction, that human connection that's just like such a gap. So I'm gonna go ahead and say my final answer is
locked in.
Yeah, that's the
good does not outweigh the bad.
And to go into it a little bit more, I think like we're just all seeking something out of it. And I think just seeing the havoc that it has caused in like the younger generations too. And like, I mean, suicide rates are like insane. And I just think that is the gap there. Like, I think that's a huge part of like where it's coming from. And yeah, I don't know. I just find myself even especially pulling it back to like art and stuff too, of like, I feel like it's just so interesting. And I know everyone knows this stuff. So I'm not saying anything new or like groundbreaking at all, but it's like, if I post a selfie, the stats show, and this isn't just, it doesn't even matter like in, you know, whatever, like how beautiful you are, like whatever. I feel weird saying that everyone is beautiful, but like I'm gonna get canceled again.
Hashtag everyone's beautiful.
Hashtag everyone's beautiful. But it's like stats show that's like if there's a face or like, you know, a selfie or like whatever, you're automatically going to get more likes because a human just resonates with a face more. If I post art, no one cares, you know, and that to me for me personally is really disappointing because I'm like, I just worked so long on this and I posted it, and this goes back to the approval thing. I'm
doing
like,
it for others.
What'd you say?
Doing it for others.
Yeah, doing it for others, and I'm disappointed with how many likes I got, or like even I don't know if you guys do this, you probably don't, but there's like a ratio of like likes per minute. So it's like if your likes,
I did not know that was a thing.
It is a thing. So I don't even know if it was originally a thing. I know.
That must be new.
Well, I don't think
know.
it's.
I could see it. I've never heard of it.
Well,
I also don't look at analytics all that much on Instagram.
We're
going to start with Project Unaware, so I guess I got to learn it.
I don't even mean it like analytically though. I'm talking about like this is not a built-in feature of Instagram. I don't think it could be now. I don't know, but like.
Wait, I think I know what you're talking about.
Like person to person. Like I am like, if I don't have 20 likes in 5 minutes, I'm deleting this.
Oh,
that's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay.
I was like, I don't think it's a feature. I was like,
wait.
I was like, sorry. I led up to it. I teed it up.
I thought it was like an analytic thing, like likes per minute.
I teed it up like it was. I'm sorry.
I was like, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I used to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, wow, this picture is doing so bad. I'm deleting it.
Right. And so it's like.
Or like. There's certain times to post too.
Yes. So it's like there's all these like
if I'm gonna post something, I'm gonna post it when I want to post it. I don't really care how many people like it. I don't really care who likes it.
But it makes you like that.
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Go for it. It makes, like you just said, you don't care about that, but when you do, like the app makes you care about that.
Yeah. And that's how they make money. That's how they get you back on the app, is because you're still thinking about it. This is a kind of a crazy thing too that I've heard, and I don't know if it's like actually proven true or not. I think it's true because I think anyone who works in this realm is like sneaky. Like that's how the marketing works. That's how I get it. Like I get why they have to do the things that they do.
You
but
sneaky people.
yes, but Instagram, if you don't post for like months and then you randomly post, they withhold likes from you for like a long time so that you will keep checking your phone to be back on their app. Basically, you're looking for the serotonin hit and you can't find it, and it's really freaking you out, so it drives you to
They do more than that too. Like,
I'm sure.
After you don't post, they'll start emailing you, hey, this person did this, check it out. And then they know when you delete the app, they'll start sending you a whole like portfolio of what your followers have done. And when you do that, they like withhold it by minute and like days too with the likes. That happens.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You should definitely watch The Social Dilemma if you haven't seen it yet. It's on
What's
Netflix.
that? Is that a movie or like a documentary?
Mm-hmm. It's really fascinating.
It'll make you hate social media.
But
I'll make a note
there was
of that.
something I was going to say.
Watch Social Dilemma.
Yes. Put in notes. What were we talking about before this? There was something else I was going to say.
Doing it for the approval of others, art on social media, comparing yourself to others. Does it outweigh the good, bad, ugly?
Likes.
I mean, social media is just a huge topic. I mean, it's definitely changed how we interact with people, even in person.
It just hit me.
Good. I've been trying to get you to spark it.
Yes. You got me. I'm back. What I was going to say, I think the most fascinating thing that's happening on Instagram right now, and I am a part of the problem. I just know that I am like speaking from the lens of like, I am a part of this issue, and I get that, and I know that, and I'm trying to figure it out and set healthy boundaries. I'm horrible at it though. And I'm saying this now, recorded, live.
Hypocrite.
I know, literally.
Live for the whole world.
Everyone.
Live from New York.
We can't post this. She's a hypocrite. Gosh.
Just throw it all away. But what's so fascinating to me right now is this movement of the photo dump, because do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm on Instagram maybe like once a month, and I post a story.
I know what you're talking about.
I have not scrolled through the feed of Instagram in maybe a year.
Okay.
I get on, look at a few stories, and get off.
I love the photo dump.
Okay, I don't either.
Is that where people just post a bunch of pictures?
Yes, but here's the thing. So photo dumps, I feel like, was this movement that started probably like last year, maybe before that.
I've been out of it.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, but
really been taking off though recently.
It has really been taking off. And the idea of this concept is like these like uncurated, like not glamorous everyday moments.
Not edited.
Is that part of the make Instagram
casual?
Yes.
Casual again?
Yes. So
kind
it's
of like that, but it's kind of like.
But so I think it started there, and then somehow, some way, the photo dump is now like the top 10 most curated photos from your month. You know,
Yes,
it's like everything
exactly.
it's the most pristine, most perfect photos. And so
Really?
it's like, I think it's so interesting how we were like trying to make it casual, but then it just like turned into, it's all curation.
It all turned into it.
Yeah. So I think that's something really interesting that I've been like thinking about quite a bit of like, I love the idea of it. I love that it's like, just post what you want. I love that in hindsight. But then it's like, oh my gosh, I just spent 3 hours trying to decide what I'm going to put in my quote photo dump.
Saturation, this.
And they all got to match. The same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as an artist too, and just like a creative person, it's really hard because my soul does love Instagram in so many ways because I love that curation. I love aesthetically pleasing things. I love to share beauty, but it's hard when like myself and my selfish needs get.
You should hop over to Visco.
What do you mean hop over? I love Visco.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, I edited Visco. Does that make me a Visco girl?
Do you post on Visco?
I don't post on Visco. At least that I know. I don't really know how to use Visco that well. I just like place.
It's basically Instagram, but people post like.
Isn't it like, I don't have Visco, nor have I ever really looked at Visco. Isn't it where people just post pictures that aren't good enough for their Instagram?
I don't.
Well, then why
know
don't you
if
have a
that's what it
Finsta?
is.
Okay, that's the other thing I don't. I feel like I'm gonna get flamed for this. Finstas. Why do we need them?
Because your main Instagram has to be perfect.
Exactly.
So you
We
make a
don't
Finsta
need
to show your real
'em.
self.
And it's like, why are you doing things that
It's
you
not the
would,
culture.
and like private stories too? That's like another thing. Like,
I get private stories.
Yeah.
There's some people you don't want to see something.
I know. And I mean,
Plus,
I
like,
have
I
private
like
story,
a close
but
friends, and like,
yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
these
It's
people
like they
are
get
special.
this. They get these.
You get this.
You know.
But it's just, it feels like so, like you're splitting yourself in half where it's like, you're not your true self on Instagram.
But I mean,
and then
how many
your
people do you
true-
follow on Instagram that you haven't talked to in more than 5
at
years?
least 500.
And so like you do care because they're people.
Right.
Relatively though, you don't care really what's happening in their life.
Well, no one really cares about anything. So it's like how it is, which is sad.
like if I want to know, I'll call you. I'll talk to you. Like
Right.
You're convincing me to delete Instagram.
I know. I'm like, the more we talk about this,
Well,
the more I'm like,
I
Which
mean-
I've been
"Please."
contemplating it like for
Like,
the past month.
Do you think you'll fully delete like your whole account, or
I
would
think
you?
I'll delete
So-
the app.
Okay, that's
that brings
interesting.
up actually. There's just something that just sparked something. Yes Theory, the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
is a big reason behind this. Matt was one of the main 3 in it, and he was my favorite character.
Aw.
Like one dude's. He's still in Yes Theory.
Okay.
He's just no longer in videos. He deleted all social media, and I mean,
Wow.
he had like millions
Right.
of followers.
Yeah, I know. Yes Theory.
Yeah.
Well,
he
I kn-
moved to
Honolulu.
Puerto Rico and has been off the grid writing a Yes Theory book. And he does a newsletter on an email, which I'm on. And last week was about that.
Big fan.
Was about social media. I mean, yeah, they've changed who I am a lot, I think.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And he talked about that, is that first month was so difficult because he fully deleted it. And just the anxiety of like the burning hole in his pocket of going
Yeah.
to check it, realizing how much you check your phone every day.
We're classically conditioned.
I mean, you
It's
go
all
in and just, you know where it
Pavlovian
is.
Theory. That's all it is.
I mean, he would go to where it was on his phone and it'd be gone.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, am I missing out? What am I missing? Oh, I can't talk to people. Oh, I'm missing this and this and this. And
Yeah.
after that month came like the most peace he's ever had because he was so much in the moment instead of trying to prove himself to others, instead of trying to show like what his life was on a little app.
Yeah.
Like, I'll forward it to you guys because it goes way more in depth than
Yeah,
that
that
and a lot
sounds
more
really cool.
feelings. But
Heck yeah.
like, I don't think you have to delete
Send it my way.
Like, I don't think you have to. Like, I delete Instagram probably like 4 times out of the year, and then I get it. I re-downloaded it for Project Unaware because I wanted to get all the handles.
Right. Got to get them before
You know.
someone else does.
And I don't even have it on my like home screen. It's in the the iPhone has that little thing,
Yeah.
and I go to it every now and then when Paul tags me in a disc golf giveaway, or Parker, my friend,
every
sends me a
day.
video
Yeah.
through DMs.
Every day.
Like,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people sit there, and that's a big part of their life.
Yeah.
You know, I sit there and I'm like, I don't know the last thing I posted. I don't even know how many likes I get, who follows me. Like, there was a moment I cared. I think in high school I was trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
be cool and
Yeah.
have the cool Instagram.
Build up the follower count.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at my Instagram, it's literally just me out west doing stupid stuff. And I'm like, I guess that's pretty cool.
I know.
And I
Mine's kinda
post
the
maybe
same.
once like every 4 or 5 months.
People literally think I live in Colorado. I do not live
Yeah.
in Colorado. But it's like
Been there
crazy
so many times.
because I only post when I'm in Colorado. Like I
Yeah.
don't,
So
I don't
it's
post
like,
when I'm home. You know.
Is that what people think of me? Is that like my identity is my Instagram? To some people, yeah. But that's not who I am.
Right. I feel like in the last year too, just like, I feel like I keep talking about COVID. I'm not trying to like talk about COVID this
I
whole
feel
time.
like you haven't brought it up
Yeah.
more than once.
You've never brought it up.
I think
Actually, you
I-
haven't even said COVID once.
You've never said COVID.
I think
on
I
this
said pandemic.
podcast.
You said
Maybe.
well, you have now. I don't remember that.
Pandemic count is now at 3. I have
The
said pandemic.
pandemic?
Okay, we're at 4.
I have not heard of that until right
Yeah,
now.
I
was
love
so-
to call
the
her
first
that. It's
time.
great.
So maybe you just slid that in there and I didn't notice. But
I think I must have. You'll listen to this back and you'll be like,
I'll
oh,
hear
there it
pandemic.
is.
I'll be like, there it is.
You should put like a
Yeah.
little ding every time
I'll put the white where it's like,
Pandemic.
for that millisecond, just so you know.
on the YouTube for the people watching.
Ding,
Ding.
the counter. I'll have
tally.
it 1, 2, 3.
But
That's so much editing work for me. Ugh.
I'm sorry, I'm making your job harder in that regard. I know I took away a lot of the questions. However, I'm giving you more editing.
It's giving you more editing.
But what I was going to say is I feel like in the last year, I am naturally like a very shy person. And I think I was always the type of person that I would never text other people to hang out, which I'm like, why? That's so silly. Like if I want to hang out with someone, I should just, or if I'm thinking about someone, I should just ask them to hang out, you know? And I don't know, I kind of would just sit and like wait for people to ask me to hang out. And it led to a lot of like insecurity of like, why doesn't anyone want to be my friend? Or like, I don't understand what's going on. Like I just kind of let myself like sit in that martyrdom in a way. And like, just like.
And then you're stuck with me calling you once a month being like, God, I hate this kid. Call me again.
Andrew never asked me to hang out.
No, Andrew, I feel like you're such a good example though of what I'm about, of the point I'm about to make though.
Whatever she's about to say isn't true. But
stop. I'm going to fight you. I don't
fight me on camera.
Turns into McGregor fight or whatever.
And then I'm just
breaks the leg.
I'm trying to be culturally relevant. I'm going to break your leg in the first 3 seconds.
He broke his own leg, actually.
That's true. He took one step back.
Mandy puts Andrew into a chokehold. It's over, folks.
Paul's just
it's over.
I do feel so like culturally like hip because I watched the McGregor fight.
She went, I'm just going to slide McGregor in there.
Just, like, trying to stay relevant with the homies, you know?
Yeah.
But what I was saying is I feel like I would just like kind of let myself sit in that a lot. And I would always tell myself, oh, I'm an introvert. So like, I guess that means I get overwhelmed around a lot of people, or like, oh, I just like I convinced myself that for some reason I am just like not like sociable in a weird way. I'm sure there's a lot of like how I got to that point. I don't really know, you know, exactly how now. Still got to figure it out. Sure, it's a lot of stuff that I had to learn and unlearn, whatever. But I feel like in COVID season in the past year, I feel like because I had this isolation and I didn't have that as an option, I feel like I have almost turned into an extrovert in the last like 6 months, which is super weird for me.
Extrovert Mandy.
I'm not saying I'm like loud and crazy all the time, but I just have found myself thinking like, I can't just sit here on social media, or I can't just sit here thinking about people and not take action. Like that's not being a good friend, first of all. Simple concept. Second of all, I just feel like that, like, what a waste of time to be scrolling on Instagram wishing you were hanging out with people when it's like you can. Like, just do it. And I feel like, Andrew, what I was going to say. Just do it. I'm like, that's horrible advice.
No, it's not. That is good advice.
But Andrew, I feel like you're so good at this where it's like you have this regular schedule with people that you're intentional with and you just call them. And that's so simple. It's like you don't have to, you know, go out to dinner or like do something crazy with them, but you just call them because you want to talk to them and hear their voice and like actually hear inflections in their tone and stuff like that. It's like that is so much more valuable than like looking at their life on social media and being like, seems like they're good. Okay, moving on.
Everyone lives their best life on Instagram.
I know. And so I just feel like that is so cool that you do that. And I feel like that's something that I've been kind of learning and unraveling in the last like 6 months of like, why sit around, you know? Like, people are so interesting. Like, just be curious about them, you know? Just, I feel like we always talk about this because I'm like, I'm not a good question asker. I feel like I don't know what to ask half the time. But it's like, I have to let myself be uncomfortable in that because like, it is a skill that I'm working on, but it's been really fun to like hang out with people now that we can, and now that we can see people and, you know, go to parties or whatever.
Interact with them.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I just find that there's so much more fulfillment, and I feel like it feels like life feels more vibrant in that way. And it's hard though, because I feel like there's, you know, the opposite end where it's like, you know, people are depressed, people are very sad, and they can't come out of that cave. And I feel like I'm just being like, well, just do it. Like, just don't think about it, just do it. So I want to like acknowledge the other side of that spectrum too, of like, sometimes it is hard to pick yourself up in that way. Cause I've been in that place too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the couple years before the pandemic. I was definitely in that place where it's like, man, I just like, I don't even like myself enough to bring myself to a friend, you know, which is really hard too. But I think there's just something so valuable about human connection in person. We were designed for it.
Right.
Like, and we're not
Yeah.
designed for Instagram connection. So
I mean, I think
there's
you
a
know,
lot in there, but
you added that whole side of like the depression side, but that only adds an argument for like you, if you're not
Right.
there, to call someone
Right.
because imagine how that person feels.
yeah,
You're like, hey, like, how are you? They could lie to you and say you're fine,
right.
or they could actually have the first time they talk about it,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Calling people is awesome.
Yeah. I used to do that.
Just do it.
I used to do that when I worked at the parks. I would just call
You
random
would?
people.
Yeah.
And then he'd hit a dead
Long
spot,
drives.
and I'd wait 3 minutes, and then he'd call me again.
Old Faithful.
I
He
mean,
always comes
you
back
know.
around.
One
But-
thing I try to do, which I'm bad at this, so hypocrite, like, is if I'm thinking about someone, like, and I'm free, I just call them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason not to. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're up to.
So you
Am
never
I
call
free?
me.
I
So you're
see
never
you
thinking
often,
about me.
Paul. I see you too much to call you.
Okay. I call you.
I know, and I love that because not many other people call me.
Yeah.
So I'm normally the person that calls. So I'm always
Yeah.
like, oh, Paul Gator's calling me. What a guy. I'll call you. But yeah, I
Call
mean,
me
it's just
maybe.
like, it's that human connection you're talking about. And you don't get that from Instagram.
No, you just can't.
Like it builds this fake connection. Like kind of like you say, you're on there to be seen, but can you really be seen? I would argue no.
I would also argue no.
And yet that's where so many people get their identity, get who they are, like the people that love them, their friends. It's like, that's not humanity. It's this like algorithm that shows you what's important to you because it thinks that's what's important to you.
And it hits the specific parts of your brain.
Yeah. And then you get the little serotonin drop when you get a like, and then
Yeah.
you become addicted to it, and then it just causes this,
Yeah.
and that's what goes down. Like, I think
And
social
then
media can
when
be
you-
used for good, but just,
And when you have, you know, crushes on people, stuff like that, that's
Oh.
even, I think,
Oh my
takes
gosh.
it one step further because then it's like, I mean, you can find out anything. I sound psycho saying this. You can find
oh
out
no, I've seen people do it.
anything on social media, especially Venmo. We've talked about this.
That's why I have it.
Venmo.
So my Venmo's private. Everything's private on mine except
Yes.
Instagram.
but
Just
it's
because
like,
I don't care about Instagram.
but Venmo is like such an interesting place because it's like, you know, who's hanging out with who's
Not
buying
me.
coffee for who. But it's like, you know who's got crushes on who on
I'm a
Venmo,
ghost.
basically. I know you're a ghost.
The only reason is because sophomore year of college, I like walked by people scrolling, being like, "Oh my god, look what they did! No way, they paid for that." I'm like, people do that on Venmo,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you don't." And I'm
You
like,
inspired me to be
Uh-uh,
private
uh-uh.
on Venmo.
Like, I
think
ain't
I
having
honestly
that.
might go private too because it's like,
Do it.
Why? It's payment.
I
You
know.
don't need like.
I know.
It's not
I
a social
know,
media.
But it's starting to turn into that in
No.
a weird way. Like, I know
I wanna
I'm
see what you
not
spend
the
your
only
money on.
person. What? Well, and it's like, it's not even like, because you can't see like how much money they're spending.
no,
so
but they
it's
can
not
see the
even
little emojis and the title
right.
and what it is,
Right.
and who
So
it
it's more
was.
just to be nosy of like,
And then you can
what are
see
you doing
if
and
everyone
who are you
paid
with?
that, like, oh, they're all hanging out because they all
Right.
paid the one guy this.
or oh, they're all going on a trip
Oh,
because
they all
there was
live
the air
together because they paid
paid
bills.
rent.
Duke bill,
Like the
water
amount
bill.
of things you can figure out about someone nowadays just by googling.
I
their name.
know.
Everything.
It's so scary. And so, yeah, I think it's just, I feel like that whole realm, like the privacy of it, and like when you're really infatuated with someone, I think that
Turns you into a bit of a psychopath.
it does. And it's really scary. Like, you feel kind of like an animal. I have found myself
Did they
like,
like my picture?
literally though, or like with stories.
Like the things
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
do to just find out information.
Yes.
Like,
Tag
you're like,
pictures.
You go to tag pictures. You go to likes on pictures.
Who are their
certain
best friends?
pictures.
Go to their pages. Like,
Yeah, see, I've
so
never
many
been
tactics.
there, but I definitely see.
Maybe
how
one
it's
day you'll
easy.
get
Maybe one day.
I hope I've
Probably
never.
not.
I don't wish that upon you. I don't
probably
wish that
not.
on anyone.
I feel like
I was
I'm
stuck.
too just like,
I feel
to
like
do
I'm
that,
outing
but
myself, but I know that people
you're
will
not-
relate to this.
I
Everyone
have
did
seen
that.
Yeah.
I did that.
So many people do that.
Yeah. But
Maybe I still do it. Who knows?
You have a girlfriend. What are you doing?
He's like, what?
I don't do it. I'm barely on Instagram.
Right. But even like with stories too, it's like you're just sitting there
Yeah.
watching and waiting for one specific person to watch it, and then you can rest. Then you go to sleep. Then you can.
What
sleep.
if they never watch it?
Then you.
You're not
then
worthy.
Then you pull an
You're not-
all-nighter.
You're not
Like-
worthy, and you're disappointed, and
Sad.
it racks your brain. You're like, why?
Keeps you up at night.
Yep. Yeah.
It shouldn't have that much power.
It shouldn't.
like-
and it just makes me mad. The
Social
more that we're
media-
talking
I,
about
honestly,
this, I'm getting really riled up.
I stopped looking at who looked at my story.
I wish
'Cause it
there was a
doesn't
way.
matter.
It doesn't, and I wish you could turn it off.
So I know my
Can you?
Instagram has not had likes shown for
Yeah, that was
4
like
years.
That was like a test they were doing.
Apparently it was a test. Apparently everyone else could see likes because mine in high school turned to that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
more,
well.
more people
And then-
are turning into that.
Well,
now.
I got a notification, I don't know, like
Yeah.
a month ago or whatever on my phone that says like, you can now decide. Like they let
Mm-hmm.
people decide. That's
Mm.
not
Get a choice
stories,
yet.
but you can do likes, so you can like turn off seeing how many likes you
Mm.
get,
I
and
feel
other
like
people can't see
Interesting.
you
that.
should be able to turn off stories.
Yeah. Like
mean, or you
who's
just don't
watching your
Post
like
stories,
Like,
you can post stories, but like not see
viewing
who's
stories.
watching. Yeah.
but then
just
what's
take out
you know?
the entire story
I
part.
know.
But here's the thing. Then, like, why are you posting stories?
Exactly.
Like, do you just want to show people what's up? Sure, that's great, but that's also hard because then you're like, well, I want like who knows what I'm doing? I want to know, and
Right.
so then you
Right.
look through.
Exactly. So it all goes back to
If it's interesting, I'll
Like,
post it on my
it's hard to
story.
have
That's
the
just kinda
true
where I'm
pure
at.
intention
yeah.
of posting unless you have like a goal. Like
Right.
I'm doing a flyer every day, and I'm posting it. Like that's my
Right.
outlet of creativity.
Right.
But
And it was a clear, well
Like-
thought out
Yeah.
thing.
Like I posted on my story yesterday that I
What'd you
was like
post?
in West Virginia.
oh, nice.
I posted like the river and like my view of what I was working with. And I didn't check to see who looked at it. I was just like, this
Which
is
is good.
cool.
this is
People
cool.
can see where I am if they
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
Talk
But did you
about it.
post because you wanted people to know you're in West Virginia?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I post stories whenever I'm out west because I'm like,
Same.
I want people to see that I'm in Utah,
Yeah, like
Colorado.
if they want to
mountain
like
biking,
ask
you
me
know?
why I'm in West Virginia, that's cool. If they don't,
Right.
that's cool.
That's cool.
But I like people.
but I'm just like, I'm in West Virginia. I'm letting people know I'm here.
Right.
people
I
need to
think-
know I live an adventurous life.
No, that's
Yeah,
I
people
feel
need to
that's
know
so
that I'm working.
hard.
I travel
West
for work. now.
Virginia.
Yeah, I just wanted
Ah.
people to know that I travel for work now. So
Yeah, you're that kind of.
You should
kinda
rent the
guy now.
private jet and take a picture. People do that. I found that out.
What?
There's like I forget what
The
state
rent-
has it, but it's half of a private jet.
yes, and it's
and
like in a
people rent it.
studio. Yes,
and they
yes,
sit
I
and
have
take
seen
pictures.
this.
They do like photo shoots
Yes.
in this private jet, and they hire like
Oh my gosh.
models to.
This just
you know.
unlocked everything inside of me. I don't know if this
The
is where
key
you saw
unlocked.
it, but
when are we doing that?
Dude, I'm not paying. It's
when we
expensive.
going?
We're
I'm,
gonna be
I'm
rich.
gonna buy my own private
That should
jet.
be the cover of this podcast. Is us in the private jet.
You have that creative power.
I can
You can
Photoshop
Photoshop it.
fairly decently, but that just reminded me of another documentary that I watched. It's on HBO Max, and it's called Fake Famous, and it's about influencer culture.
Toxic.
Very
We'll
toxic.
talk about that.
I was like,
on
that could be a
another
whole
podcast.
other episode.
We could talk about
There's
that
there's a
forever.
lot of things.
Yeah.
I have a list of like
Yeah.
100 topics.
Mandy's gonna be like the reoccurring guest.
She's our lead graphic designer or
Yeah.
CEO of
I was like,
creativity.
I'm always happy to come back and chat it up.
Yeah,
I love it.
You
But
are our CEO. Of
no, she's just the CCO, Chief Creative
Creative
Officer.
Officer.
Yeah,
That's what
you
a
are the
CCO is.
CCO.
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Where are they?
Sounds good.
Making
But this documentary was so interesting, and it was unlike anything. It was basically a social experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so cool because they took normal people. They had them like audition for it, and they were just normal people that had like a handful of followers on.
Did they know what they were like auditioning
Yeah,
for?
they knew what they're signing up for. But it was so interesting because basically
Yeah.
they took them through this like process of like becoming an influencer. And it was interesting because
So they weren't influenced already?
No, but they made like fake ads in their backyard, and they went to that private jet and did pictures. That's how I know about it. And then it all took place in LA. So like the famous pink wall in LA, they took photos there, like took all these, like did all the right steps basically. And there were some variables. I can't remember all of it, but because it's an experiment. So it's like, you got to see how like things affect different things. But what showed the most, I don't know, clout is the only word I'm thinking of. That doesn't feel very professional.
I think that's right.
That fits
But what,
that lifestyle.
Great. Yeah, so what proved the most clout, or what would get you the most jobs, or like the most like influencer events, or like ads, or like whatever, is follower count. And so they would buy bots to gradually increase these people's like followings. And this one girl, one of the guys ended up like dropping out of it because he was like, I can't do this. He was like, I just don't like the way it makes me feel. But the one girl, she kept it up and kept going. I think she was the only one standing. I think a lot of them all kind of dropped out for like different reasons here. I could be making that up.
She went for it though.
She went for it.
She went all in.
She had over like 300K followers. Half were bots, half were like real people. But the brand deals and the company she was working with, they don't know that they're bots. They don't know that. And she was getting all of these opportunities and deals and trips and ads and all, like making so much money. She is like now an influencer because of this experiment. And that's just what reminded me was the
fake jet.
The fake jet. It's so crazy because it's like all of that stuff is just manufactured. It's not real, which is so crazy. I had honestly no tabs on that at all until I watched that documentary. It was so eye-opening. So I definitely recommend.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show just how fake things can be. Like 150,000 bots.
I know. Bots. And they just like multiply the more money you pay for them. Yeah. It's so wild. I don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting.
It's a different world. That's a whole other can of worms. That's a whole other episode. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I talked about it in the second episode, just how overconnected it is and how much like pain and almost just bad things that's caused.
Yeah. It's wild.
I mean, there are definitely benefits. Don't get us wrong. We'll all still probably use social media.
Right.
So again, hypocrites.
Like, walking away from this, I'll probably
watch me delete it though.
Like
like making it.
I mean, that's why I did think I've always done like something every month. Like I did turn my phone black and white for a year.
Yes, you were the one that taught me that.
Did cold showers for 3 months. You know, like
I don't know about that one.
I tried. I thought about getting rid of an iPhone and just getting a flip phone.
Have you heard of the light phone?
I've seen the ad on
it's so cool.
The what phone?
Instagram. I think I saw that ad.
Ironically. It is a phone that you can like. Yeah, you probably know more about it than I do.
I remember what it looks like.
It's well designed, so it looks
good. It has nothing on it except the essentials.
Yeah. Like you can't download social media. It's not like a flip phone, but it like
has your phone, has texting that isn't like a keyboard. You know, it has navigation.
Yeah.
It's a tool, and there's nothing else.
Cool.
I'm like, okay, so after this, we're all gonna go throw our phone in the river.
Yep. No. You know, but when I thought about that, I went through like, oh, what about photos and camera and music and navigation and this and that?
The music is what would kill me.
I mean, the amount we are now built and like almost enslaved to our phones. Like Apple does a great job of this, of connecting you to the ecosystem to a point where like, I have an Apple Watch, I have to get an iPhone. I have an iPhone, I may as well get an Apple Watch.
Or my phone's so old, or it's 5 years old in quotes, and it won't handle this new system upgrade. So now I guess I gotta get a new phone.
A year old for a lot of people.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah,
but that's how they make money. I get it.
Consumer culture, and that's a whole nother topic.
That's all I know. I was about to say,
like write all this down.
I
guess you don't need to because it's all recorded.
Yeah,
that was dumb.
Who needs to write things down these days?
Yeah, I love to write things down.
Yeah, who needs a pen and paper?
No. I do. I love a pen and paper.
Gosh, she's so like, she lives in the 80s.
That's my my antiquity. Is that the word?
I don't think that's
the word.
I don't think that's it.
No, that ain't it,
Yikes.
Chief. That's okay.
Sorry.
We gotta know what you're trying to say, but not antiquity.
Okay.
Maybe it is. Maybe we're wrong.
We'll figure it out.
Another day.
after the pod.
Another
That's
time.
another topic.
Antiquity. What is it? What does it mean?
Probably not what you think it means.
Wait. Oh no. Now I'm like, did I say something completely inappropriate?
No, it's not
No,
inappropriate.
antiquity is not inappropriate. It's just like, I mean, think about the base word antique.
right.
Antiquities.
It's exactly
like-
what I think that it is, right?
It's your antique.
Like old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just used it wrong. I'm just digging myself in a hole.
The
Maybe you can
ancient
cut this out.
past, especially the
The
period
ancient
before the Middle
past.
Ages. Great age.
I mean, people use that as slang, like, oh, that's an antiquity.
Old.
Or I
Okay.
study antiquities. I think people have said that.
Not sure
That-
what.
I study
Yeah.
antiques.
I
like-
know
Oh.
what you're trying to say.
You know.
Just don't know the word.
Yeah.
Hey, props to you for trying.
Vintage
We'll
is not
think of it. No,
Oh, frick. I don't
it's
know.
fine.
We can move on.
Moving on.
It doesn't matter. I like that we were
Oh.
like in harmony on that. Let's move on.
Well,
I'm not gonna be able to sleep until I figure that out. Though.
Causing him to stay up. He's gonna be Googling all night.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on social media, connectivity? I mean, there's so much there.
Delete it.
I know. I was gonna say I don't have any groundbreaking thoughts, but I'm just like, man, we should take more steps.
No, I mean, I would just urge everyone, the listeners, Andrew, Mandy,
The
just
hypocrite.
Paul.
just myself, like to. I mean, you don't have to delete it, but just
Right.
like try to limit yourself on how much time you're spending there. Really think about why
Mm-hmm.
you're posting stuff, like your mindset behind it. What do you get from it? And just really think about things.
It's a scary question to ask. What do you get from it?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if people have that answer.
No.
Nothing.
One way to help do that,
Absolutely.
I know on my phone I have
It's all
limits.
void.
So I have 15 minutes of social media, and once it hits it, it times out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rarely
I
hit it,
started
but it
doing
does
that.
do that, and it
I
does
think
time out.
This. I'm not trying to make this longer than it needs to be, but it's also hard for me too because I do have to be on it because of my job.
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
part of my job.
Mhm.
So
There's
it's
a
like-
difference between
perfectly fine.
professionalism, personal, and then doing it.
I know,
other
but it's
people.
hard to separate. It's hard when you
It
just
is.
like get on there and you're like trying to look at something else and then
Goes
you're
down
like,
the
oh, but
rabbit
this
hole.
thing- Yeah.
The train likes. Ooh, what's this?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta know. Oh,
Yeah.
this person posted.
Yeah. I think my closing thoughts on it are just ask yourself really good questions. Your motives, like what you were
Mhm.
saying. Who is this for and what am I going to get out of it? And then also the black and white thing is actually really helpful. I found that helpful
Yeah.
when I did it for a while because
I guess I should probably explain that.
explain it. I think it's really
One
genius. I
person-
never heard it before.
Who was it? For one of the creativity entrepreneurship classes, my friend, I can't remember who it was, turned their phone black and white for an experiment to see if that turned them off to their phone, because iPhones and other phones have very vibrant colors that like you are visually attracted to.
Yeah.
When you have it on black and white, it's so simple. Like Instagram, low key ugly. Like your phone is just like it.
She's not cute.
No, like it
Not
takes
cute.
all of vibrance, like all that color editing people spend hours doing,
Yeah.
out the door.
Useless.
And so it just, you pick up your phone, at least for me, way less. Like I never checked my phone only until
'Cause
like
it's
people would text me.
boring. It's like in Halloween Town. when
Exactly.
everything- Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's Halloween Town 2 when everything turns gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, everything's boring. We want
And
color
it's just
back.
one way to like help yourself. I mean,
It's like-
you can
Yeah.
easily turn it back to color.
Right.
It's like WandaVision.
In the first few
Like
episodes.
the first two episodes were black
she's
and
in
white, and you're
denial
like,
and
this
running away
is
from all this
not
stuff.
Great.
Spoiler alert.
Whoops.
Oops.
But yeah, I would even say like I feel like most people have already done this, but just turning off your notifications.
Oh yeah.
Mine have been off for years. I don't do that, but I think that almost drives the vicious cycle sometimes of like knowing
Now
that
you
they're
gotta know.
off and
Yeah.
now I have to go back on.
I have to go check.
But I think I
It's a
think
tough
just-
world.
It is. It's a cruel world out there.
Yeah.
It's brutal out there, as Olivia Rodrigo would say. But
Brutal out there.
I don't know.
in your editing, you should splice that guitar riff right there.
If I'm
But-
legally allowed, I
If
will
you're-
try.
We can
No,
like,
like I think it's
mutate
like
the song.
10
Change
or
it by a
15
few notes.
seconds. You can have 10 or 15
I'm
seconds.
not sure. That's with YouTube. I'm not sure how audio and podcast works.
Yeah, I don't know either.
10 or 15 seconds.
Um,
Don't quote me on that.
so I guess one big takeaway for me is just think about how much time you spend on Instagram, which you can check your phone. It will tell you if you go into the screen time.
So convicting.
And just think about what else you could do during that time.
Yeah.
Not be on TikTok.
And here's the thing. It tells you, I think it's weekly. It might have monthly. Multiply that by how many years you've been on Instagram.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah. Doing nothing. And like you said this earlier, do you remember any of it?
No.
Every now and then I'll see like a useful thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
No.
And like, I think even if you do see something notable on Instagram, you're not going to remember it in 3 days.
There's a little. Yeah.
We were both
if a
staring
day.
at it. Yeah. And it's like, you just don't remember those things. But I don't know. I think my takeaway, am I allowed to share a takeaway?
Sure.
Because I've been thinking about this a lot. Not a lot, but like it has passed
A
my
lot.
mind. It's crossed my mind a few times. But
A plethora of times.
I think I wanted to make a list of people that I miss or like want to hang out with, or just like a call list or like something. Because I feel like just being intentional and like having names in front of me of like, okay, like these are people I want to be intentional with.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hang out with them or call them and like replace that time that I spend on social media with like a phone call or a hangout.
I love
or
that.
whatever.
Or
Or
I mean, you definitely do that. You should definitely do that. You could.
That's a horrible
play
idea.
some
Do this.
music. You can play some music for yourself
yeah,
and
Or
do
create
some
art.
art for yourself.
you're so right. You're so right.
That wasn't like an or do this. That was like
It's a and.
Suggestion.
and you can also do
Yes,
this.
and or. Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
think
didn't mean to say or. I take back my or and change it to an
you're
and.
fine. Yeah, I think like finding little pockets of time to replace
Yeah.
because like we don't get this life back, as cheesy as it sounds.
Or you
You
could
have one life.
You could also come disc golfing with us sometime.
Okay, I've never been, so I would be
Let's make it happen.
a novice at it, but
It's okay.
You know how
Yeah.
many people
I'm
we've
down.
taken their first time, like disc golfing?
So
many.
many people.
Probably everyone. that
Everyone
we've
I've
played with.
interacted with.
I've never done
Yeah.
it. I've never done it.
You'll be fine. You
Yeah.
got this.
Great.
I can see it.
We'll go to a
We'll make it happen.
not very difficult course.
We can do the 9-hole right over there.
We're gonna do Echo Valley.
Echo. No, we're not doing Echo Valley. Paul, any final thoughts?
No, I mean I pretty much said what I said earlier. Like with
I said what I said.
I said what I said. You know, like
Play it
Like,
back if you want to.
I mean, one final thought is like we're not experts in this. We're just giving our opinions. Like we're not perfect. We definitely do these things, but we also want to work on it, and you know we're trying.
I think that's
We're
the most
taking
important part.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day, if you can wake up and work on something and be a little.
But
bit
I just don't want anyone to
That's a
think
win.
that we're hypocrites. Like, oh, you guys
Oh,
should
we
do
are.
this.
This entire
Right.
thing.
I'm the biggest
idea.
I
of
mean,
being
we're
aware.
definitely hypocrites, but like we say it with love. We say it with intention. Like
Yeah. Like this is what I'm
Yeah.
trying. Like I'm
this is what
shooting.
I'm gonna
for.
try.
Yeah.
And you can join me.
Because it's kind of worked in the past.
Yeah. It has.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take our word for law. I think thought provoking stuff. Think about it.
Yeah.
But that is all the time we have today. It's a long one, but I love it. Good conversation.
Oh.
I almost just said I'm sorry, but then
Don't.
I caught myself.
So you, but you did say it
Just
without
said it.
improvement.
Fist
She didn't.
bumps.
She didn't say it like in real
You
use.
Right.
said it rhetorically.
Yes. Well,
Just to let us know she wanted to say it.
no, I like it was like on the brink of coming out of my mouth, and then I was
No,
like,
Amanda Adams. Amanda Ann Adams.
Mandy.
oh my gosh,
Adams.
the full name. It's crazy.
I love conversation, and that's what this was. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't
That
matter.
was
It
great.
could be like 5 hours long. I don't care.
Time kind of flew by.
Like you are the what I say
crazy.
the CCO.
2 hours.
Okay.
Sure.
No, you are.
If you say
confidence.
so.
You
You
are
are
the CCO.
official
Okay.
director.
I will take it.
Or you be the director of creativity.
I think CCO is a little smoother.
All right, CCO, Chief Creative Officer. But yeah, I guess I should probably just say thanks for joining us, Mandy.
Yeah,
Really
thank
appreciate
you.
you
It's
coming
been
on.
a blast, a pleasure.
Yeah,
I'm
I learned a lot
glad.
today.
We've had such good conversation.
I hope.
Like I
hope
said,
this
time
was-
flew by.
Learn the understanding and
cannot
meaning behind
believe-
Mandy. Never knew that.
I know.
In
it's
all our
pretty
years
crazy.
of friendship.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I hope it was fun. I
yeah.
hope
Yeah. We'll
I
definitely we will definitely have you
interesting.
back.
Great.
Um,
I will happily
Multiple
come back
times.
anytime.
we will, because there's a lot more I want to discuss. A lot more I want to talk about, like design world.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
just
gosh, we
there's
didn't
so
even
much.
get into it.
I know.
Really. I mean, we did, but we didn't.
We
you know?
touched on it. We touched on a lot of things. But I definitely want
Touching on
next
a
time
lot
you're
of
on here,
things.
like
Yeah.
how you got into it, how your best tips, advice for other people.
Sure.
But part 2, you just gotta come back.
Part 2.
But yeah.
I keep forgetting there's camera. over there.
There is.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
only one camera because I didn't want to edit 4 camera angles.
No,
So
that's-
when it's
We'll
just
get
me and
there.
Paul, guys, you'll
We'll get there
notice that there are a
eventually.
lot more camera angles, but with a guest, as you saw last
hard.
week, only one. And this week. But podcasts are mainly audio. But if you're watching, I love you. But anyway,
love you
that is
too.
all we have time for today. Make sure to check us out on Project Unaware because that is our sponsor. Hit up Mandy on Instagram and see all her social media cool stuff. If you have questions about design, if she still has an Instagram at that
I
point,
know. I was like,
make
who
sure
knows?
to ask. If not, let me know and I'll direct the questions.
You can email me.
I
Did
don't know if you want to put your work email on.
I have other emails. I have
if
like
you
a
want to put it
art-
on.
Yeah, if you're like in
However you
your 20s
want
and you
people
don't
to-
have like 7 emails, are
Yeah, I
you
have
really?
7 emails. So you can say it, but I can also just put it in the bio.
Okay.
So if you have questions, you can let her know.
If
But
you got
that,
questions, leave them for the tip jar.
it's true.
Yeah.
Mandy, you're going to have to leave a tip. A tip jar.
Yeah.
I was wondering what
Yeah.
that was all
Yeah,
about.
so
That's what
questions,
that's for. Not monetary
concerns,
tips.
suggestions.
We'll read the
tips.
comments
I
and we'll
love
throw
that.
them in there. Who to interview, ideas, topics, everything like
Cool.
that. But, well, we appreciate you guys for sticking in this long, listening.
It's a long one today.
One challenge, Paul. Do you want to do a challenge? I've done the
Challenge.
challenge every week, so
I did a challenge last week, but
I guess I'll do the
no, I'll
challenge.
do a
Oh,
challenge.
shoot.
My
Which
challenge.
one
I
is-
had a challenge like at the very beginning. Okay, so this kind of goes back to like what Mandy was saying about like you feel like you don't really create art for fun anymore. Like you don't play
Mhm.
music
Ooh,
for like
I already like
yourself.
this challenge.
Just go out, do something that you're passionate
yourself.
about that you just haven't felt like you've done in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Just have fun. Have fun with it.
That's a great challenge.
Enjoy it.
Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sleaze.
Please.
Do I say sleeves?
Of course.
Sleeves.
That's how it ends.